Sweet. Do Facebook own Zoom? Does Zuckerberg own Zoom now?
No, they're all connected though. They're all associated.
They all catch up for golf or something.
Yeah, they're all mates. It's so true. It's like Google, Facebook is it's an oligarchy in a sense.
I imagine them as being like James Bond characters sitting around a big table with like a map of the world where they can see where people are logging into their computers, and they're just inventing new ways to manipulate us and use us.
It could be, yeah.
Also by providing us with great tech that we benefit from, but it's
great tech and service, yeah.
Yeah.
Just do a quick check on the Facebook to make sure that it's being streamed. But yeah, I say it's live on Facebook, so we trust that it's live on Facebook. For those who are watching, what's going on? This is our second ever podcast, and you guys are watching the pre-release. We haven't even launched it yet. So this is Julia Smith. We'll do some introduction. Let's confirm that we are streaming. This is gonna be a lot of fun. What is a fun daytime for you?
Oh gosh, it varies, hey. Like a weekend fun daytime is different from a weekday fun daytime. Because a weekday fun daytime for me still has to have productivity.
Yes.
But I really enjoyed, I think the other day we did the 6 a.m. club, and I shared that I had a day with no bookings.
Yes.
And that is so fun, because then I've just got the whole day to create.
Yes.
It's still going to be productive. I'm still going to be doing stuff. But at the end of the day, I can see what I've created.
Yeah.
I love that. I really love that kind of day. That's fun.
I feel you. I love that. I call it flow state. You know, when I just keep open space, like white in the calendar, and then I'm just flowing and I'm trusting myself to create and do things. In my subconscious, there's like 20 lists of things I need to do. So it just whatever's right pops up at a time.
Yeah. That was a great day. And you're right, flow is exactly what it is. It's that state of I can do whatever takes me, and your mind will take you to what's important and what's valuable at that time.
That's it. Yeah. So for our audiences, let's introduce yourselves. I think that would be a really good thing. So Julia, how would your best friend describe you? And then feel free to give your story.
Wow, how my best friend described me? That I'm full of love, that I can take myself a little too seriously sometimes, and that I really do understand that my purpose is to help people live happier lives and healthier lives through inspiring them to be that and to do that.
I love your highest purpose statement. It's beautiful. Can you say it one more time, your purpose?
So my purpose is to lead, be a compassionate leader, to lead with compassion, inspiring people to live their happiest and healthiest lives.
Felt that. Amazing.
I love it. I love it. So I'm a naturopath. I've been a world traveler. I'm inspired by people, constantly amazed by people. I worked for 14 years in the corporate industry, so sort of had that like leadership background as well. And I'm a coach, and that's how we connected.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
As my mentor, which I really appreciate your mentorship, tell me about you. Give us you.
Yeah. All right. See if we can respond to that question. My best friends would say I am incredible giver. Um, I am love and abundance.
Mm.
Uh, that's a really good place to start. Um,
Mm.
in terms of me, who I am, yeah, I definitely contribution, love and connection. Those are my highest um, core values, core drivers. Been in the film and TV industry for 16 years, and all of that encapsulates. So literally, I've worked because of that as an actor, um, worked through almost every different job you can think of. Sans maybe real estate. And even real estate, I was an introducer for a bank, so there was an unofficial job. Um, I've got the coolest like list of like interesting jobs. Uh, but I was an introducer, it's an unadvertised job, one of the big four banks. And
Mm.
my best friend's from uni, real high achiever, real awesome finance guy. Had me because he knows I'm a networker. I'm a super connector. So he gave me this job as an introducer, to basically introduce people to him, to the bank, and they do this interesting thing, bundle houses. And so it lowers rate, save something like 45K out of someone's home. Do that.
Wow.
So it's very like, so this is already, we're talking very vulnerably and openly and honestly. But yeah, this is like stuff that you don't hear about often. So that's just an example of interesting jobs that I've done. But have a corporate background as well, in terms of when I say that a year, corporate and enough. I worked as in a past life as a car dealer, one of the most honest jobs I've ever done, as
Uh-huh.
opposed to the stereotype. It's literally you have about 7 different checks um, for you move a car. Um, literally you have to. There's all the paperwork has it's like a stack this big, has to go through um, finance, the company itself, ATO, roads, all the different about 7 different checks, and you move car, which is 25K. So you're moving the size of a business um,
Mm.
for a transaction. So that's my high end corporate life for a year. Really grateful. Taught me high end sales, which
Yeah.
I need to tap in that more, to be honest. Yeah.
I got
So
to be
yeah,
honest, that would be, I can imagine you in that role, and I can imagine just the value you would have brought to people, because our expectations of someone in that position is that they're a little bit slimy, a little bit like, do you know what I mean? Like you can't really trust them. So you would have brought this level of authenticity and, what I think when I think of someone good in sales, they're someone who actually cares about
yes,
what you need as a buyer. So you would be asking those questions about, what is it you're looking for? What is it you really
yes.
need? You'd be really wanting to understand that person
To
so that you can give them exactly what they need and they buy what they're looking for rather than what you want to
100%.
sell them.
It's absolutely, yeah. So I was strong in that. Um, Resonate completely. Sales to me is relationships in the day. Sales is, and 100% you hit the nail on the head with care. It's caring for the person. That to me is the highest level of care.
Mm.
Ethical sales. Um, yeah, the car industry itself, brutal space, I have to say, in terms of like in the back end. It's highly competitive. Very my old manager. I worked in Hyundai, new car Hyundai's, and I won't say the proper company name just for privacy's sake. But yeah, my old manager was full AF, old school, very old school mentoring, you could say.
Ruthless, I imagine, that kind of,
Ruthless.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it was interesting because, I think one of the things that he there was a phrase that he had. It's the policy is very awesome for corporates. This is a really good policy for, but intuitively understand that they do not fire, but they will what it's called basically like management till you're out of the door. Like so 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 get so like you get so much talking to that you deselect yourself.
Yeah, you'll
So
manage that.
yeah. And the moment I deselect myself, when I was, it was the only time that I saw him like take away that role of the manager, and it gave me a hug for the first time. Saying goodbye. Wow, he's a real human.
Oh, look at that. Hey, Chris, before we go on, I'm just noticing the occasional glitch in your video,
Yes.
and I wouldn't want that to come through in the recording. I've just checked my internet strength, and I'm good and strong, and I'm right next to my server. I just wanted to see if yours is strong enough so we don't get like dropouts or anything.
Great checks. I love that. So I'm on 3 or 4 bars of the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm working on the 5G.
Yeah.
So if it happens 2 or 3 more times, remind me, and then I can switch it over to the 4G, which may be more stable.
Yeah.
Super.
Cool. So tell me, I haven't ever asked you this question, but it often comes to mind for me. Love and abundance, they're kind of it's like your tagline. It's like, you know, you see Toyota, oh, what a feeling. Yours is Chris Masters Mah, love and abundance. So what does that, when anyone says those words, they have something in mind, or they have a feeling, they have a meaning to it. What is your meaning around love and abundance?
Oh, what a wonderful question. Oh, feeling it. Oh.
Yeah.
This will be tough for me to unpack because there's so much in it. I am love and abundance. They are my highest values in some sense. I realize if I were to run monthly webinars, which I do, the best way to theme it is love and abundance. And what greater things? Like I can't think of anything. We'll start with abundance first. Okay, we'll start with abundance first.
Before you go on, mate,
I think the best way is to just come to a webinar
and
then
again.
Happen again. All right, let's try.
And I really want to be able to listen to all of this without the little interruptions.
Thank you. I'm going to switch over to the 4G. Let's see if this works. So bear with me. It's going to pause for a sec.
I'm hoping we get you back. Are you back? You're back.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Let's see how this works. It says my interconnection is going to be wavy. But yeah, we'll does say 4 bars though. It's fantastic.
Cool. We're good
Beautiful.
so far.
So far. All right. I'm gonna make you speaker view. Sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So you were talking love and abundance.
Love and abundance. Love and abundance for me is everything. I'll share with you like a short story. So when I went to Tony Robbins' UPW, the Unleashed Power Within, in September, it's his big event. It's kind of an entry event that he does. It goes for 3.5 days. The heart of the event is called the Dickens process in day 3. I can't talk about it too much. When I asked about it, when going to it, I had friends who said, I can't talk about it. And I'm so glad, because it's so nice to go into it without any expectations, not knowing what we're going to. And the first 2 days, everything is prepping leading up for day 3. In summation, we find our new three highest beliefs. And so mine is the very first one. When I say beliefs, same thing as values. It is, I am abundance. And so, I took 20 minutes of like soul searching to find what is my top three, and it's abundance. Abundance to me is, I'll share this. Again, go to the webinar is the best way to unpack it, because again, it's a 3.5 hour unpack. But abundance is, I look at grass, I look at the trees, and I see abundance. Imagine all the people that walk by the tree, what the tree has seen for generations and years. When we go to the grocery shop and we buy some groceries and some veggies, each vegetable has been passed down by at least 8 hands to get to us. That's abundance. Use the unit of dollars as well. Is a very important to talk about. We should talk about it as play. We should talk about it as energy. Money is currency. It means it's moving. In other words, like, I'm just drawing from Grant Cardone. He's my global money mentor and behind 10x. Money in the bank is useless. It's only useful if it's in motion, if it's moving. So you got to have money circulating. So it's all about income flow. Yeah, I can talk for hours on it, but abundance is everything. It's the richness within our lives. So it's richness in health, as well as wealth, as well as happiness and the people that we surround ourselves with. And love, I'm going to save that for the webinar, honestly, because yeah, that again is a massive unpack that I do. the 5 love languages, the 4 or 5 different meanings of love, the different types.
Yeah, I love that. And I think when I think of abundance, in my mind, it is all of those things you describe. It is the flow in life. It is the abundance of experience and emotions and kind of non-tangible stuff. When I think the word abundance for a lot of people might be more about stuff, might be more about gathering things and having. It could imply that kind of, I have an abundance of X, Y, Z stuff. So I really like that for you, the meaning is really about the beauty in life, the flow of life, the connections in life. Even just that thing about, the vegetable you buy has passed through so many hands. And even even the seed of that vegetable had to be planted by someone, and the field plowed by someone, and the land owned by someone. Just that connection can go on and on. That ripple can flow for so long, can't it?
I'll go deep. Yeah, there's definitely a connection to God's source universe as well when you understand that depth of abundance. I'll share with you one more thing on it, and then I'd love to ask you a question. So the phone that we have in our hands is $100,000 device. To some people who know how to use it, and it can be a $1 million or $10 million device. It's how we use it. The component parts of a phone come from 36 different countries. They travel 8,000 kilometers just to get to us.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great example. Vision Lakiani from Mind Valley, he was at a resort and he was on his phone. Sometimes we look at our phones and have a perspective of, person's like not being social. A lady walks up to him and says, why are you always on the phone? Always on the phone. He goes, this phone is a portal of love. This phone is a portal of love. It's how I connect with my tribe, how I share and give lessons, and to again be in that flow. So
that's a great different perspective on phones, isn't it?
Cool. Yeah. And
Yeah.
acknowledging, yeah, at the same time, like there's phone addiction. So I'm
Yeah.
consciously aware of screen addiction. But God, like it's a portal of love.
Mm,
How
mm.
powerful is that?
Yeah, what a nice reframe on that. Mm, that's
Let me
cool.
ask you a question.
Okay, go.
So your themes are courageous connections, both
Mm,
personal and business.
mm.
Uh, and I know you deeply, so I see that it's very evident that that is you. Um, but what's courageous connection to you? How did you get to it?
Yeah, good question. I think I actually, well, I know I actually came to it through one of the lecture series we did with Matt Levice, and the process that we went through was to think about last year and what perhaps the things that were keeping us stuck last year or were problems for us last year, and how we want to move forwards with something different. And for me last year, so the start of 2020, I was on crutches. I'd broken my foot. I was in a moon boot, and I,
How
I
far
was a
you've
bit
come. Wow.
I was a bit miserable, if I'm honest. I don't know how my partner kept going with me, because I must have been quite a nightmare. I'm quite, lively, active. I love to walk. I love to, do exercise, and I couldn't do anything. I was like a caged creature. So, and I found, because it was summer as well, because I broke my foot in December, summertime for me is the beach. It's on my paddleboard with my friends. It's out for long walks. It's just walking around, Northbridge in Perth, going for a drink. It's just wandering. I do a lot of wandering, and
Love it. Yeah.
you cannot wander when you are on crutches. Wandering doesn't happen. You're on the crutches and you get from A to B. So I found that I lost a lot of connection,
Yes.
because I just couldn't do a lot of my normal stuff. So that was really hard for me. And then, of course, in March last year, we all went into lockdown, and connection became very different. Connection became just through the screen.
Yes.
Um, I went down south. So my partner lives down in the southwest of WA. So I was in the country, which is, it's a rural environment. There's not so many people around. So connection became a lot less, or different at least. It was only through the screen. I wasn't traveling. So my job previously had me traveling pretty much 50% of my time. So I'd lost
What was your
those.
previous job?
I was a regional manager for a natural medicines company.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the largest natural medicines company in Australia, and loved it. Absolutely loved my job. Worked with
Yeah.
amazing people, and my customers were brilliant, and yeah, it was all great. And then that comes to the third part of my story. I lost my job later in the year. So a lot of people did last year. I was certainly not alone. Companies restructured globally, and I was one of those people who got restructured out. So yeah, connection became just a loss of connection last year, and I needed to intentionally bring that back, because it's what lights me up. It's my connections with people, my ability to bond and be amazed by people. People just amaze me all the
How
time.
amazing are people?
They're amazing. I'm just totally curious about every little creature I come across.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I really realized that I had lost that, not lost my companions. I still had my close people. My close tribe was still there, but I'd lost a lot of my, that sort of middle tribe,
Yeah.
who are really important. So this year was about rebuilding that. And
Beautiful.
yeah.
Real quick interjection.
Mm.
My favorite animal is human beings. So,
I love that. I do call us creatures all of the
I
time.
heard
That's
that,
why
so I
it's
was
my
like,
word.
oh, yeah. Oh, it's so cool. Fully resonate with that. Fully resonate.
Yeah, it's yeah, people just stun me all the time, and in my job I get to hear, oh my goodness, some fascinating stories. I
So
sometimes come away from an interjection with someone and just go, God, you're impressive. Like, look at you. Look at what you
let's talk about your two jobs, because
mm,
I feel like you have two main sources of income, right? So what, and passions as well, things that you love.
mm,
So what is the question I like to ask when I meet new people? It's like, what do you do for a living and what do you do for love? So let's talk about
ooh,
both.
wow. I feel like what I do for a living is also something I do for love. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So are we talking the
So
coaching or are we talking naturopath right now?
yeah, both. Um, so I work in a clinic in Perth, and that is in itself two businesses channeled into one. So one of the businesses focuses on allergy, and the other is sort of more broad naturopathic, kind of any condition, whatever's going on. So I deal with patients or clients of all kinds of health problems and backgrounds, which I love. I absolutely love that. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity to come back to being in clinic. You know, I've been a naturopath for over 20 years, but I haven't been in clinical practice for all of those 20 years. So it's just amazing and beautiful to bring what I've learned through my corporate time, the education that I was involved with creating and presenting and being a part of, and the products and all of that, bringing all of that knowledge into actually helping individuals is remarkable, and I'm very grateful for that. And then the other thing that I do is working from home, where I see my own coaching clients who come to me more for, well, it's different. Some of them come to me more for life coaching, which sometimes moves into health.
Right.
And then others actually do come to me for specific health conditions, and we end up doing a bit more life coaching. I feel like the two things are so closely
They are.
interrelated.
They're
You
so
kind of
odd.
can't separate them, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. I I'll share my two things. So yeah, it's I resonate completely with both. My living and love is the same thing, for both my streams of income, for both my careers of choice. Very early in my life, I made the decision. I think I was like 16. I said, only doing work that I enjoy. It was a pre-requirement. Yeah,
At 16, that's impressive.
yeah, and I've been lucky, because with that kind of rule in mind, over time, one job to one job to one job, I've done all these different industries. Acting is my first love. It's the When I was 16, I asked my dad. It was really funny. I asked my dad, "What do you want me to do in life? Like, what do you, like?" I asked him similar on that line. What kind of asking my dad, "What do you want me to be when I grow up?" And he goes, "I want you to be happy."
Mm.
And that was really great. At the time, I was like, "Dad, I'm looking for guidance here."
Give me some direction, man.
Yeah,
Come on,
exactly. I was looking for some
tell me what to
direction here.
do.
But I'm so glad you said that, because I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be everything. So, and that was a subconscious thing. So when I found acting as a bludge class, I was like, dude, in high school, it was love. I straight away, my ikigai was fulfilled. It was something that I excelled in, something I loved doing, something I could serve other people, and something that could be rewarded.
Mm.
So it was an ikigai.
And
Uh,
can I just
Please.
add a little thing into there? I feel like, and you can totally correct me because I could be way off here. I've never
Go for it.
done any drama or acting, but in as an actor, you can almost be doing anything. because you're playing different roles. One role might be a doctor, one role might be a electrician. You in some ways you can be everything.
That's it. So my personal life, doing work to pay for my acting, there's definitely a parallel. There's definitely that reflection. And yeah, you're 100% right. So that's my acting, and there's a lot of parallels. It's all behavioral psychology as well. It's all behavioral psychology, and what an exercise in empathy, playing, like, literally living people's slices of life, as we say in theater, live slices of life lives. Um, in coaching, coaching's all behavioral psychology. It's all behavioral psychology. So there is a real easy sidestep for me. When it's for me, I see it as a natural evolution. With coaching is that I can give you a defining moment. It was about March, April, when last year, yeah, I for an income I was working as a chauffeur, but I was learning, like, join Fox. This is a Foundation of Coaching Success. That's when you officially become a coach with Coaching Institute. This is where me and Julia we met. And I was learning part-time, but that was what I really wanted to do. I wanted to do coaching, and I was chauffeuring. Then when COVID hit and then lockdown happened, I got stepped down, and I was like, great, this is a perfect pivot for me, because now I can do what I really want to do, which is more coaching. So I went full time with that, full-time hours between March to September, and that's the growth. I think about April. Here's the defining moment. I There was a webinar I went to. It was one with Sheed, and great coach. And someone asked him a brilliant question. He said, "What's your greatest achievement in your career so far?" And he goes, "Well, in my 2 years coaching, I helped save 3 lives." And I thought, amazing. And I thought about it. I was just like, if I can speak for my highest self, I was like, this past 3 weeks, I've been working with people, 3 of which I've helped turn around from suicidality. And one of them, I remember, I shared the story in PK Savvy's podcast, the last one. French actor, a friend I hadn't seen for like 5 years. She was going through a tough spell, and what with COVID, isolated, away from family. And I just had a conversation, like really heart-to-heart conversation, and I was using coaching. I was just being there and present, and I really just loved on her, and just let her be seen for who she is, who she forgot she is. Organizer of events and people. Yeah, and it turned her around. And that moment, I was like, coaching is it. Coaching is the reason. Coaching is the why.
Wow. And I'm just such a big, I see the ripples in life as well. So when you say that there are 3 people there that you've helped to change from suicidality, and we're getting a bit deep and heavy here, but that in itself is remarkable, is outstanding. But then the impact of those 3 people making that decision to not take that choice, the impact on their families, the people in their lives. Like, again, when you think about abundance, if you think about it in that sense, the paramedics who would have to deal with her, their potential trauma, their potential families, her own family, her friends, it's huge. You can never even imagine the impact. You just can't.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Putting the scope of abundance on, and the ripple effects on what one life being saved is. And Keanu Reeves, we should watch this. We should look this up. But Keanu Reeves has a response to the question, I think it was David Letterman. What happens when you pass from life? See if I can find it.
Oh, go on. I do love a bit of Keanu.
Oh,
I keep telling myself I want to go back and watch Bill and Ted's Adventure. I think it's his best work.
oh my gosh. Ah, man, 90s films, man. How great are they? Yeah, Bill and Ted, incredible. Hilarious.
I mean, John Wick's pretty good too, but
Yeah, Keanu is phenomenal. Like, what a most generous man, the most kindest man in Hollywood. What an
isn't he
example.
great? What a great model.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of my 6 acting gods. And for his personality.
Yeah, I get that.
So
Although
while
he's pretty rare on like the talk shows, isn't he? He's not a big fanfare kind of person, which is also something quite likable about him.
let's while I'm loading this up, and yeah, I'm so aware that in Facebook everyone's gonna see all my tabs. I vetted it, it's clean.
That is fewer tabs than you usually have open though. You've minimized today. Well done.
Thank you. glad you noticed. So Keanu, what tea are you drinking? That's the fun question.
Oh yeah, my I try to get the largest cup I possibly can.
Yes, because we know we're going for 3-4
yeah
hours.
Totally. An upgrade from here is actually a Stein. That's the next largest volume. So
yeah,
it's called Sencha. It's green tea with oh my God, with roasted brown rice. It's just beautiful. So I love green tea, but the roasted brown rice just kind of takes that bit of bitterness out.
Yeah, real quick. Do you have multiple drinks with you?
I finished my coffee already, so I
You have your coffee?
I did have my soy latte in there.
Amazing.
Half caffeinated, half decaf. Baristas hate me because I'm like, can I have a half caffeine, half no caffeine soy latte, not too hot, please? And they're like, no, can you just go? That's not coffee. I actually did have a barista in Melbourne.
You're specific. You know what you want. Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. Working in hospitality before, I'm so cognizant of the barista. So, but I often get a magic. That's my test to see if they know what coffees they're making.
What is a magic?
It's a barista's coffee. So it's from Melbourne. That's an unpack. So we can look out the definition. Like it's a recipe. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sharing
what have you
screen
got
again.
going on? What beverages do you have there?
Oh, thank you. Yes. So I got a chai tea.
Nice.
This is my favorite tea. It's just very calming and grounding. And this one is orange infusion. So a zest. So
nice.
that will be my second to keep me going. And water with Baraka.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
You are like, so I'm not getting dehydrated during this conversation.
Yeah. There's a running joke that because I'm Asian American, I'm always overprepared. So
great.
Yeah. All right. Sharing screen. This is Keanu Reeves.
Big news. If you're
this is our first time using share screen.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
The end of the universe. It's the end of time and space continuum.
So
it's all over.
You're facing your own mortality and the mortality of all existence.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think happens when we die, Keanu Reeves?
I know that the ones who love us will miss us.
John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum is in theaters next Friday. Keanu Reeves, everybody. We'll be right back with Tootsie.
I felt that.
Oh, oh,
I felt that.
yeah. How
Mm,
succinct is that?
mm,
He's clearly done the soul searching.
mm. Yeah. I feel like he's just a nice guy.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
do you know about the? Oh, well, okay. First of all, the people online will be like sad Keanu. That's the most famous meme about him.
Mm.
But do you know about the tragic like life story of Keanu?
You know, I don't know.
Fascinating. You have to look it up. But I'll give like the vague summary of it. Like he lost his for a long time. It's like tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. His longtime girlfriend like passed away. His sister got cancer, passed away. I have to check the facts, but yeah, he had a series of tragedies, and yet he perhaps because of it,
Mm.
whatever his decisions or his beliefs that he chose, he's one of the most generous, like grounded, open, loving beings.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And that
that's
stuff takes like to come through those kind of repeated tragedies like that. You can go either way, can't you? You can either become hateful, angry. We're talking above the line, below the line stuff here, aren't we?
yes,
You can do the why me, I'm a victim, this is terrible, why do these things keep happening? Or you can turn it around and become abundant, believe that, you know, you can be generous and that that's helpful, and just switch it so that you, in doing so, you're bringing you're bringing something beneficial from that loss or from that hard time.
yes.
Mm.
Like we've talked about, it's the you can have tragedy happen in your life and then decide, and I say you, I mean like everybody, right? Decide whether uh, the world is by nature hostile, friendly, and clearly like Keanu chose that the world is a friendly place, it's a
Yeah,
loving place, it's a gift.
yeah. I've always had this just belief, this kind of, it's always been my worldview that the world is a friendly place, and that people are that, that people are inherently good,
Fully resonate.
and people are inherently trustworthy. And I think maybe sometimes people see me as naive because I just trust everyone. I trust you. You're
I see you.
inherently good.
Yeah,
Everybody's just doing the best they can with the resources they have, right?
that's it. That's it.
That's just always what I've felt. And then I did have a really, and we've talked about the a bit of a big emotional upheaval for me. I don't like using the word trauma, but that's what therapists and other people have used to describe it. And just for a moment, I fell into this really dark place because my mind view did switch. It did. I switched to, no, actually the world is a hard place. Actually, bad things do happen to good people. And I think that was actually what I struggled with in processing that whole experience, was that it's not just that I had this really sad, really quite dramatic thing occur. It was more that it had kind of just changed my worldview. It had imploded my mind, and it made me go, fuck, have I just been doing this wrong? Have I been doing life wrong for all these years?
Yeah. Without going into specifics, yeah, I feel you for that period of time you had adopted viewpoint, from that close connection that you lost, and it was, you know, how could this happen? How can such a tragedy happen to this person? And just from that viewpoint, from that lens, oh, world may be a hostile place, but I'm so glad that literally, your natural inherent worldview has always been world's a friendly place. Yeah.
And people, I as a young woman, I did a lot of global travel on my own. I put the backpack on at the age of 22, and I didn't take it off until I was in my early 30s. And
I was wondering if you wanted to share the context of that story. Yeah, I like being your mentor. I want to make sure that only share what you feel comfortable about in that, because it is a topic.
Yeah. I'm happy to, and I think I guess the point I was going to make is that I think I believe that my view of the world as an inherently good place has actually kept me safe. I traveled the world as a young woman on my own, backpack on, in the 90s. You couldn't just text your parents if you were in a bad place. You couldn't, FaceTime someone and go, help me out, or give me direction, or where's a good place to go when I'm in this strange town or strange country. You're on your own. If you were lucky, you had a copy of The Lonely Planet.
Great books. Yeah.
Great books.
Yep.
Some of them were passed down from traveler to traveler, so they were usually a few years old by the time you got them. So yeah, you literally had for me anyway, I had my instincts and my the filters that we filter the world through, our experiences, our own judgments, our beliefs, our values. And I think that value that I held of the world is an inherently good place, people are inherently trustworthy, people are intentionally good, actually kept me safe. I never felt unsafe. I traveled through Turkey, I traveled through the Middle East, I traveled Europe, Australia on my own. And I met people, and I, traveled with a few people for a while, but I never felt unsafe.
I resonate with that. I love that. On the face value, you and I are very different people. Like, I'm not, I wasn't a young woman. I was a young boy growing up. But I lived through, again, looking back, I'm very blessed, I'm very lucky, very privileged, maybe you'd say. But my parents were world travelers. My dad was multinational, and he worked for a multinational company. And I lived, by the age of 16, 17, I lived in 5 countries. I've now lived in, and let me define that, right? It's at least 3 months. So like Hong Kong, I think the shortest was Beijing, there for 5 months. But I've lived in 8 countries, and so blessed. And ever since I was young, I've always felt covered. The word I use is covered. And now we're talking spirituality now too. But it's not just that the world is inherently a good place, but I didn't have the word for it, that there is this presence over me that's looking after me. I'm safe, I'm protected. And that came, I think it was year 5, went to Hong Kong International School. It was formerly a school run by nuns. So every 9 days there's a chapel day. And we go there and we learn about Bible, and start talking about Jesus and God, Holy Spirit. And that's when I was like, that language is what I'm feeling, like being covered.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That sense of protection.
A sense of protection.
I like that. And I think that worldview, if people do use the word naive sometimes, and I don't think naive is right for it, because it doesn't, by having that worldview, you're not denying that bad stuff happens, right? And that sometimes people make decisions and have behaviors and actions that are that have outcomes which hurt people.
Bad stuff do happen.
Bad stuff happens, yeah. And I think that worldview, what it does is it's not surveilling for that. It's accepting that stuff is there, but it's not kind of hyper vigilant, like I've got to constantly be looking for that stuff. It's just like, yeah, that stuff happens. I need to be mindful. You know, I have an alarm on my house, that kind of thing. You're practical, you're sensible, but you're not just hyper vigilant. You're not expecting bad things to happen because you know that the world is inherently good.
Yes.
But you know that sometimes people break into houses or cars get stolen.
That's it. Yeah. This moment, I love that we're both coaches, so we can use a lot of pre-frames and coaching terminology. So for those who are watching, we also call this coaches on coaches. So cross-interview, casual platform. Is it okay if you and I interrupt each other? And by the way, you are an amazing, phenomenal coach for the high level of listening. That we're talking listening and understanding map of the other person. It's a phenomenal skill that you have and grown and built. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Is it okay if you and I interrupt each other every now and then?
Totally.
Awesome. Yeah. I just wanted to have that in the air so that we have that wild excitement that we can have and we often have like casually. Yo, but this thing.
What about that? What about that?
Yeah. I forgot what I wanted to say.
That's all right. I wondered if I do take us back to, you know, I was diving a little into that emotional trauma because it's an interesting topic. Yeah. I think not just because it's a story, but I think it's an interesting. It's just something interesting to unpack, maybe.
I share as much or as little as you want to share on it, and can I just say that I was so honored, and I mean this from the bottom, like top to the bottom of my heart. So honored and privileged to be able to hold space for you, sharing your rock bottom. And it was, you know, it was a first for the both of us in me receiving that much vulnerability and for you sharing that much vulnerability. And vulnerability is strength. Vulnerability is a superpower. When you shared that vulnerability, the unconscious effect that it had on me was beautiful because I felt permissed to be that much more vulnerable. And I remember I want you to share much of your story, but you allowed me, by doing that indirectly, you allowed me to the very next day to be completely vulnerable about my childhood traumas, my housemate. So you freed me. There's a lot of catharsis in releasing that. So gratitude to you. I feel like,
and that just feels so good that you were able to have that.
So sharing of your vulnerability as a coach, yes, we then can serve other clients and go that deep because we've done the work. But also just by sharing the vulnerability, you're going to bless a lot of people by permitting them to be vulnerable, that it's okay, that they're seen, that they're not alone in feeling those depths.
Yeah. If I can maybe expand on that, I think it's vital that we are able to share our vulnerability. I realize that now. And I think, you know, without getting to the moral of the story before telling the story, it's about if you don't have that vulnerability, if you're not able to express what you're holding within, it stays within, right? Yeah. So yeah, the story starts with a world traveler.
Yep. Yeah, story time.
Yeah.
State of receiving.
Yeah, 1994. traveling the world, backpack on, meeting people, going places, and in Greece and one of the Greek islands, met a whole bunch of people. I'd gone to catch up with some girls that I'd known at university, and they had a group of friends there, and met a young man called Joe, who is an Italian Australian. Lovely soul, just beautiful soul. We connected, we enjoyed each other's company. He was just a really pure kind of human being, you know. He was one of those great human creatures. And you know, there was no expectation. He was not the love of my life in any way, shape or form, just a really good human being. And he actually, I think, was probably the first inspiration for me to come to Australia, because he just spoke so beautifully of his home and, you know, what it was like. And travelers share traveling stories, right? So, you know, we would talk about other places we traveled, but he would always come back to Australia and the beauty of Australia.
You can credit him for you coming to Australia.
Totally, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, really, actually, my first interest in coming to Australia. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, years later, this was
And you had a beautiful connection with him. Yeah?
Beautiful connection, yeah. And then years later, 2016, doing that corporate job that I was doing, flying around Australia, I had a weekend in Adelaide for work. And on the Sunday, I had the day to myself, no work. Woo, what am I going to do? It's raining. I can either go spend time in the mall and spend money, which I didn't need to do. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take myself to see a movie. I have literally never gone to see a movie on my own. It felt like luxury.
It's a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah. And I found one of those cool cinemas where you can have a glass of wine while you watch the movie, and you get the big fancy chairs.
Oh, self-date in the movies is wonderful.
Yeah. And it was a bit of an arty theatre, so they had a bunch of movies that I'd never heard of. And one of them, you know, you see the posters outside. One of them had the name of this young man, Joe, that I'd met 20 years previously. And I kind of went, oh, that's interesting. I wonder, maybe that's the movie for me. Having no idea of any connection. Anyway, shortly into the movie, just a few minutes into the movie, I realized that this is a documentary movie about the Joe that I knew.
Dramatized retelling, yeah.
And it was, the style of the movie was sort of very documentary, very art house, very like you're really close into the screen. It wasn't Hollywood style at all. It was, you're very much there. You're very living the story. I won't go into all of the detail, but the end of the story is that Joe was murdered. He was horribly, intentionally murdered by his girlfriend. She injected him with several lethal doses of heroin and watched him die. And it was horribly traumatic. The level of drama in it was so heightened. You know, the credits go up, the screen is black, and no one in the theatre had moved. Literally everyone is just sitting there processing, and there are other people around me with their head in their hands, or women crying, and I just had this kind of blackness. Like I couldn't understand that this was obviously real. This was reality, and I'd seen it in a movie. I had no idea what had happened to Joe. No idea at all. I'd lost touch with him over the years, as you do. And I'd actually searched for him on Facebook and stuff and never found him, and just thought, you know, he was such a beautiful soul, such a good person, that he'll be just living life. He'll just be off there, you know. Facebook, I don't need Facebook. I'm just, you know, beautiful. I imagined this beautiful home, beautiful family, just this soul loving life. And I was faced with the reality that his life had actually been taken from him so brutally and so horrendously. And that was really what changed my worldview for a time. The idea that, you know, we know that there are murderers, we know that bad things happen to people, but when it comes that close to you, it hits your world. For me, it really damaged that view of the world that I held.
And I know that you're a very empathetic human being as well, so you can't help but feel and process that, examine it on all angles, you know. So
yeah.
So I feel you feeling that. It's freaking, you know, no one acknowledging no one should ever experience that. Like, we wish no one to be brutally like murdered. Aaron knows as well. At the same time, then I'd love to hear your journal spiraling up. Like how did you come out of
I guess the bit that I missed at the beginning is that on my way to Adelaide, I'd had a head injury, and I damaged a nerve. I basically crushed the nerve in my neck, which had damaged sort of into my shoulder and down my arm. And when I got home to Perth, that injury was really bad, and I had to have a series of treatments and stuff. So I think the physical treatment was really what started for me. And through some of the hands-on treatment that I was having, I was releasing some of the emotions, and went down the journey of counselling and psychotherapy to actually consciously accept that this was reality, that because I'd seen it on a movie, and no one ever expects to see or experience something that's a part of their life on a movie. That's just to actually assimilate the two things into reality was quite an interesting journey. And yeah, I got really low. But throughout it all, I kept reaching out for help until I reached the point of, and I remember the day, it was the day before I had to go back to work. I decided that I'd had 2 weeks off because of my physical injury, but I'd reached the point where I could type again, I could drive again. So, you should go back to work. You should just crack on, just get over it, get on with it. And I remember actually having a chat to myself, like, you've got to just put this stuff aside. You've just got to, the emotions are done, just lock them away.
Bottle it. Yeah, bottle it, move it aside.
Yeah. And I think as human beings, we do that a lot. We put things aside because we need to move on, because we need to process, we need to get on with the doing of life.
That's it.
Yeah. So I got on with the doing of life, and then earlier this year, I started to realize that in serving others, there was an element of me that I hadn't processed. There was a lot of emotion that I'd put aside that I needed to just unpack. And it was through that unpacking that I've also reconnected with the pain.
Yeah, wow. So,
Yeah.
okay, there are two tangents, two things that we can. Thank you for sharing so fully, honestly, and vulnerably. Um, you are courageous connection, by the way. You are. the I'd love to share like my journey with dealing with past traumas as well. But first,
Yeah.
let's talk about that the holistic connection between like mind, body, and spirit. How yeah, there's a physical connection to that emotional pain that you have, the
Mm,
that you've buried. And
mm.
it's interesting how there's that link.
Oh, it's
What
so interesting. And it's something that, you know, naturopaths, natural healers, therapists, alternative practitioners everywhere talk about on an intellectual level. We understand that it exists. You know, Joe Dispenza does some phenomenal work around this with people with all sorts of health conditions, that there is this very clear connection between the mind and body. We know that through the
that's
nervous system, through the the various feedback systems in neurology and physiology and biochemistry. But it also exists, I believe now, on a soul level, where
yes,
you're, you know, I'd consciously gone, look, you're physically feeling a bit better now, just time to put this stuff aside. And so those two things had just locked away together. And by unpacking one, I literally within the same few days started feeling that pain again. And I'm now, you know, really resolving it, really feeling it, really spending
yeah.
time with it. Yeah.
I want to acknowledge your journey of healing and recovery of that. That's incredible. Yeah,
And I
and
think
it is a journey. It is a journey.
so is, yeah, so is, yeah. You know, we talk about emotion as being held in the body, and actually
Yes.
helping someone to recognize that and to move through that, and to fully feel it, you know, to name it, acknowledge that it's there, fully feel it. And fully feeling
Huge.
it can mean feeling it physically in terms
Absolutely.
of that pain, wherever it's showing up, as well as feeling the emotion and working through it so you can let it go. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
May I share with you and the world just a chunk of my current journey. Um, and acknowledging too, I think one of my highest values, again, like love and connection. So I had a thought. It's not concrete yet, but this, you know, I wanted a hypothetical or to see if there's a connection that is maybe hindering something. So specifically, there's I can talk like my one of my origin stories, literally the life-defining moment of losing my former love of my life. That's a story that I'm very comfortable sharing because I've done a lot of work in that, clearing that, you know, clearing enmeshment in that as well too, because she came from a big Italian family of plus some basis. Um, what's interesting now is my current journey is working healing the inner child traumas, like the things that had happened to me um, by abusive parental abuse, parents abusing kid, um, of my 7-year-old self, of my 15 to 17-year-old self. Um, and as Mother's Day is coming up, it's literally Sunday, I'm, you know, I'm seeing my mom tonight, flying off tonight from Sydney back to Melbourne. Uh, you know I'm gonna, I guess these feelings are bubbling up and it's just coming up. For what purpose? I feel it's my metaphor has been it's something that I have a good understanding of. I've done reading and learning and then doing a lot of self-work. Only this past week had I the courage to hand up and get coaching on it. After years of never, like hand up, ask for coaching within our community, and contacting and speaking with some people. The emotions that has been bottled up, that whole, like little tiny little, just so we can keep what it's doing. It's ripe for the picking. It's ripe for actually let's deal with it now. It's actually really ready. And previously, my metaphor is it's like a dam water, and I'm just constantly sealing it and just putting it back. No, this stays down. This stays down. Right?
Yeah.
My worry, if I had to handle it, is that I'm going to. I've already said and committed to, yes, I'm going to work, but I'll be going through this emotional roller coaster, and I worry that it's gonna sway my day-to-day routine. But how needed is the work? How needed is the work? So when I mentioned that worry to my inner child work coach, amazing, beautiful, fully safe, trust space to work in. She's an amazing.
I'm so glad you have that, by the way. I'm so glad you have that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so lucky I found her. So when I presented that, this is my worry, that I'm worried that it'll interrupt my day-to-day routine and work. She said, so you're telling me that, and I shared the dam analogy. She said, so you're telling me, it sounds like you need open heart surgery, and you're gonna put it off and continue to eat sugar and and I was like, that's a great metaphor. I need to do this work.
Yeah.
So yeah. There's a lot more. I've done a lot of work, a lot more catharsis and
and you know what, when we talk about that mind-body connection,
yes,
I see it sometimes. Honestly, I see it in most of the people that I deal with in their health.
Yeah.
One of the things I see a lot in people that come to me is they've been suffering this physical thing, whether it's an allergy, and it's a lot of allergies, whether it's a problem with their digestion, whether it's a pain of some kind. They've often been struggling with this thing, and I use the word struggle because that's usually the word they use.
Yep.
And it's been going on and on and on for sometimes years. I'm just thinking through the people I saw yesterday, 13 years, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. And when I say to them, why now? Why is it now that you're wanting to deal with this? And they've been doing that damn wall thing. They've been, using laxatives or taking painkillers or seeing different doctors and doing different stuff to dam that wall and to stay, so they can keep the doing happening. The answer to what's motivating them to do something now is 9 times out of 10 an emotional thing. I've found the love of my life, I've recently gotten engaged, I've got my wedding next year, or I've realized that my grandchildren are a joy in my life and I want to be around for longer. So the motivation is usually an emotional thing.
Yeah. So thank you for that. The hypothetical thought that again, it's not concrete. I was like, is there a connection with me not being able to find my love to the unresolved things with my mom?
Yeah.
And there may be that connection. And there's the whole Freudian thing where, Freud would say that you fall in love with your mother. And because of just being very, very vulnerable, share. Because my mom, I love her to death, she's 100% valuable, valid truth about her. It's just my truth and my perspective. Because of the childhood that young Chris received, young Chris had a very different, point of view. Dictates who I relate with. My mom, my joke is my mom is that she's a lovely human being overall, but to me she was the dragon. She was the dragon lady. Never want to be on her bad side, burnt, and you want to be on the good side. But how does a child love on a mom? It's the single most abusive thing. It's painful. So I know that may be a reason, like Asian dragon lady, right? The women that I tend to be attracted to is the furthest thing from my mom, and it was definitely a conscious choice when I was younger. Not gonna, and still to this day, like I do not want to date. To me, she doesn't represent a healthy, functional mother-children relationship.
Yeah. So you don't want that for yourself. I
want that for myself. I don't want that for my kids as well.
Yeah.
It's going deep.
Yeah. I get that. I'm so sorry you had that in life. I'm so sorry. But how wonderful you've seen it, you've noticed it, and you're working through it.
So because this is a public forum, so I want to really acknowledge my mom, all the great that she is. On the personal thing, I can effective blaming is what Tony Robbins calls it, blaming. Because of who she is, she built me to be abundant, learn emotional intelligence, and to be able to, because of her. And on a holistic level, she is the kindest, nicest person to a lot of her. She's such a human connector and networker herself. I admire how she maintains long-term friendships with a lot of people.
Awesome.
Phenomenal. Across countries and space and time.
Yeah. It's amazing when we let down that damn wall. And I feel like, opening my own, I describe mine as being a like a dinosaur egg, that kind of hard shelled, and I've put lots of hard things around it. So yeah, a little bit like a dam wall. Mine is kind of like the dinosaur inside is trying to break out. It's like it's chipping through the shell.
Yeah.
And I'm really conscious of allowing it, but also not wanting it to come out all in one go.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just unwrapping the layers bit by bit.
That's it. Yeah. I admire Matt LeVar. So Matt LeVar is he's the head mentor, head coach in TCI, the Coaching Institute, where we're at. And when he's public speaking in our events, our workshops, I love that he can talk about so freely and openly his past traumas and his old self, going, the rapscallion that, used to be, rough as guts, as the Aussies would say, did drugs and do all those things. And it's acknowledging that he's done the work and he's so not that person anymore. And because he's done the work, he can freely talk openly about it as a story to help other people.
Yeah. It's like you're no longer denying it. You've come to a place where you've understood that as being a part of you. It's a part of your story. It's a part of where you've come from. And our stories build us. Everything that's gone on through life is a part of who you are. You've learned through everything, and you've become this beautiful human creature because of all of those experiences. And by the way, what a great word is rapscallion. I love that. I just, oh my God.
We need to use that word more often.
Yeah, it's a great
Rapscallion.
word. I cannot remember the last time I heard it, but it's a really good word. It's so descriptive.
It's lovable, but such a rebel.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's lovable rogue all in one, isn't it?
Rapscallion. Let's talk beautiful words. Just for funsies. My favorite, you're in my inner circle, so you hear the words that I use. Two of my favorite words now is compersion. Compersion means, and I learned this from so I'm very monogamish at my core. You know, grew up on Disney.
Monogamish.
Yeah, monogamish. Most of the world is monogamish. There's a great documentary on Netflix, monogamish. I think the average in terms of the population for people, their ideal partner situation, be like 2.5, a couple and a half. and that's true. I mean, like we can't be 100% right for our partners 100% of the time. So we're such multifaceted beings. This coming from looking for a working model, but coming from my former love of my life, like to see there's a working model for relationships. I've learned and I've played in the open dating and the space, and so one of my friends from the poly space, incredible, beautiful human being, so abundant in love. She talks about compersion, and compersion is through empathy, not necessarily to do with romantic or sexual love, to find joy in other people's joy, to experience joy, others' joy. Compersion. Gorgeous.
It's such a great word.
Such a great term.
Yeah.
Eventually, Oxford Dictionary will adopt it as a word.
Is it not in the dictionary?
It's not in a dictionary yet. It's colloquially used though, so it will become a word.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm.
Just the concept of finding joy in other people's joy. I mean,
a feeling joy through other people's joy.
Yeah.
I have compersion. I am compersion. You are compersion. I see it in you. You're highly empathetic, and you find joy in other joy.
Almost nothing more joyful than just experiencing other people's joy.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that why we give gifts? Isn't it why we celebrate other people's stuff, whether it's their birthday or their successes? It's I love it. And even just when you see joy around you, one of my favorite movies, guilty secret,
go for it,
not really a secret at all, is Love Actually.
Yeah.
I
mean, what an epic multi-story love story. I love Love Actually.
Yeah.
Nothing to be guilty about.
Not love Actually? It's just great. It's like not loving puppies. I mean, it's just not possible. And I love the
all-time love stories.
Yeah, that's right. And it opens, when the opening scene, and it's being narrated. I think it's that English actor Hugh something.
Grant.
Anyway, Hugh Grant, that's the one. You'd be so much better at actor names than me. I think he's narrating over it, but it's the scene at an airport when people are arriving and just hugging one another, and like, how can you not feel just filled with joy watching other people reconnect like that? It's
gorgeous. Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
And like, how many video clips are there on YouTube of military personnel coming home to their dog? It's usually the dog, isn't it?
Yeah. We that's okay. That's the next video we should watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Real quickly, I worked as a chauffeur which meant 90% of our jobs for that, jobs as in like clients, are airports. And realistically, it's long ways between to see that oh my God. But when it happens, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
What a great montage of people, that the abundance of love shown when two people who haven't seen each other, who love each other so deeply, reconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's compersion. That when I think of
compersion.
that word, that's the image I have in my mind. And you can't help but feel joyful just seeing it unfold in front of you.
Let's find the scene from Love Actually.
Oh, don't, you'll make me cry, and I don't have tissues.
Okay, one thing I learned. So, you know, the standard preface, right? Cup or water, or I usually say favorite drink as well. Notepad and pen, safe and open space, right? Inner work, I learned, okay, there's two more. Tissue box and a throw blanket in case I'm feeling really emotional. I just want to be wrapped.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny that asking about the tissue box, I think you've got to have reached a level of rapport with someone, because that telling them that they're going to need a tissue box is maybe setting up an expectation they might not be quite ready for.
I feel it's appropriate for inner child work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Straight up, like.
And having said that, in my physical space, I always have, like, there's a tissue box in here, there's a tissue box in my clinic room.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I think over the screen, I've yet to have the courage to say to someone, you're going to need tissues.
Yeah. Keep it in a note. All right, I'm going to share screen. Actually, opening scene.
Oh.
How would you like to know this?
It's an ad.
Damn ads.
Perfect size videos for our format too. 1-2 minutes. Yeah.
Whenever I get gloomy with the state of the world, I think about the arrivals gate at Heathrow Airport. General opinion's starting to make out that we live in a world of hatred and greed. But I don't see that. Seems to me that love is everywhere. Often it's not particularly dignified or newsworthy, but it's always there. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, old friends. When the planes hit the Twin Towers, as far as I know, none of the phone calls from the people on board were messages of hate or revenge. They were all messages of love. If you look for it, I've got a sneaky feeling you'll find that love actually is all around.
Wow. It did make me cry.
All emotions are beautiful, valid.
You know, I poor Nathan, sometimes I do feel for him. I make him watch it every Christmas Eve with me. It's my Christmas ritual.
Great, amazing.
Yeah. He's prepared for it now.
Yeah. It's, oh my gosh. My awareness with the as a masculine too. I'm fully in touch with my feminine, fully in touch with my masculine. As a masculine energy, there's the whole thing of like, oh, you can't show tears and stuff. I'm so aware of doing inner child work. I'm probably gonna cry almost every day when I go deep into it. Maybe I give myself permission to. Realistically, maybe 2 times.
Yeah, it's important to be able to cry. It's
Yeah.
a valid emotion, you know, sadness and tears don't just come from sadness; they come from compersion.
this is something. Okay, I love that you and I can talk forever, and this is why that's the qualifier I have for like people on the show. I'm like, okay, you have to be able to talk forever. Okay, great. We have the connection. Fantastic. We'll go.
And a bonus is to have a strong bladder so that you can stay the course.
Yes, that's it. Part of our prep is wait, can we make sure we all right, good.
We're good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
So yeah, quick couple segues. So let me rewind. Day box. I've lost my train of thought. You broke my heart.
Emotion, tears, compersion.
Tears. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Fully accepting that tears is a one. I think the most catharsis when can I share vulnerably? Like the most I cried watching a film, like talking like like shaking like this, like and I was like, I was cuddled with my former love of my life. We were watching, it's that film, I believe Naomi Watts was in it, and it's the true story of the tsunami survivors.
Oh, yeah.
What's it
I
called?
forget what it's called. Do I have to Google it? Or use one of those search engines?
Yeah, you
Various
Google.
search engines you could possibly use.
Yeah, Naomi Watts tsunami film. And while you're doing that, yeah, some context. So this is more than 11 years ago.
Impossible.
Impossible. The impossible. Yes. I was in the middle of my love of my life, my former love of my life relationship. And like talking like 3 years, married at heart, deep. And watching that film. And it came to the point where it was Ewan McGregor. He was calling. So the family is pulled apart by the tsunami. He believes that he's lost her, and he was calling her father to say, that for a romantic man, like the ultimate failure of like, oh, I've lost your daughter, and he was like, and he was in tears, and I was like, I felt it, like I was just like a blubbering mess. I was just like,
Yeah. I'm feeling that, or just thinking about it. So I wonder what the word is for that, because that to me is kind
conversion.
of the flip of conversion, in that you're feeling
Great loss.
great
Through
loss,
empathy,
or
great loss
great
of someone else's great
sadness
loss.
through someone else's great loss and great sadness. Like you're feeling it. Is it just empathy, or is it something specific?
It's through empathy, yeah. It's through empathy. Maybe there'll be a word, but yeah. Anti-conversion.
That's actually one of those movies that I'm aware of, but I can't go there because I know I'll end up like you.
It's I'm gonna note it down because it's a movie worth watching. And I host a movie night every Monday night movies. It's another sacred space of mine. You should come sometime. I consider this an invite for you.
Well, an evening sounds much more appropriate than 6 a.m. club in Perth.
Yeah. It's evening time, like 7, 8 p.m.
Yeah,
Mondays. Be impossible. I feel as a film, I'm not trying to convince you to watch it, but it's a phenomenal film that everyone has to watch. It shares about the human condition. In the day, the only story worth telling. I'm quoting George R. R. Martin. the only film worth watching, or story worth, about the human condition. And in George R. R. Martin's words, like the heart of humanity in conflict with itself. So it's a wonderful, I mean, there's so much love. You see, when you see a story of great loss, you feel also the love as well. I have a theory with photography. That's, you see great photos and stuff, it shows emptiness, like just like sunset, you know, and these things are all beautiful and stuff because there's so much emptiness, and that intuitively the shadow side of that is all the love that we feel is not there, so it's still present.
If I think about great loss can only come with great love. So the two are intimately connected. To experience great loss, there has to have been great love.
What's that saying? It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And yeah, in acting, we learn this about if we play characters that even have the emotion of hatred, kind of hatred without love. There's love first. So yeah, really, really interesting.
Acting fascinates me. It really does. I often find myself watching a movie and actually just thinking about the process that person's gone through to portray that individual that they're doing.
Why I feel very fully, if I can speak my highest self, fully equipped to, behavioral psychology. Really, 16 years of learning, doing, and living acting. Acting is behavior. So if I can unpack the term acting is behavior, acting is doing. There are two types of acting, my perspective, two types of acting. There are pretenders, and there are those who are seeking truth in an imaginary circumstance. Those who are seeking truth in an imaginary circumstance. Quoting Meryl Streep here. Yeah, that's it. And ultimately, peel back all the layers of human beings, but of Chris. I'm a seeker of truth, and it's just from a place of love, next to God's first universe.
So who are the best actors?
Oh, are we talking? Oh boy, geez, that question. Are we talking holistically, generally, or are we talking like specifically? Who does Chris think is the best actors?
Who does Chris think? So based on the criteria you just spoke of.
Oh, this is a question. This is a great question for actors, eh?
Is this like trying to pick your favorite child?
Yep, very much so.
Yeah.
But since we've talked holistically now too, I don't think there's a question itself is fundamentally interesting. There is a best actor or the top 5 best actors. I think it changes. It changes constantly. Back when I coached actors on the sideline, and I'm always open to doing that. I coached actors for 4 years as a sideline. I clocked up about 100 hours on that and served about 40 different up-and-coming actors. And one of the things that I taught was the 6 acting gods. So this draws from a couple amazing schools of acting. Brad Pitt does this. Brad Pitt has his 6 acting gods, and I won't go into this. I know who his 6 acting gods are too. So my top 6, and we use the term gods as in like exemplary role models, like models of outstanding. Find these models of outstanding. They learn, whether it's acting or coaching, whatever field, learn as much about them as possible, their entire career, their biography, and how they got there, their first 5 films, what they did to get those first 5 films. And those first 5 films define that actor. The 6 acting gods, so not a religious sense of term, but someone that you just can learn so much from. Mine constantly shift, but they would be Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio, he finally got an Oscar. Matthew McConaughey, he's a big one for me. There's Ken Watanabe. I have to put that because from the Asian perspective, I do want to represent this construct that is physically presenting Chris, right? Asian, that diversity.
It's good to acknowledge that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ken Watanabe is arguably the most successful Asian actor in the Western world. Jamie Foxx, for his multi-talent, multi-skill, and similarly on that same line, Childish Gambino. Those are my 6 currently.
And what brings change to that list? Is it about how they evolve in their acting, or is it about what you're looking for in your models?
So I'll speak as Chris the actor, as we grow, as we evolve over time. So mine will change. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I've done a lot of soul searching and thought on this, and example of Marlon Brando. This is gonna be very controversial, what I'm saying here. But back in his day, it was a big talent search to find who the best actor was, like in the media, in Hollywood, in the field of acting. And that person, the winner of that contest was Marlon Brando. So acknowledging all the amazing work that he did, he's considered a godfather of actors as well. Like he's considered, one of the old guard, one of the best actors back in the day, and shaped how actors play today. I look back there, and we are so blessed. We're standing on all these giants, the shoulders of all these giants, because imagine if we could put one of us and put us in a time capsule and go back to the 1940s, 1950s, and act, we'd be the best actor straight out at the gate, and probably the world wouldn't even understand us as actors. So I don't put that much credo to Marlon Brando. Like I would look at his films and I'd be okay, I can see how he can work on it differently. But acknowledging he was the father of acting. Let me ask you a question. So similar, in the similar vein, are your top 5 natural therapists?
Ooh, wow. Wow. 2 of them are, my top 5. Wow. My top 2 are probably the people I learn from the most. I listen to their podcasts all of the time. So one will be Rangan Chatterjee, Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. He's a British GP.
I'm going to take notes.
Yeah, I'm happy to share with you his work. He's phenomenal.
How do you...
He's written several books. Rangan Chatterjee, so RANGAN CHATTERGEE. So he's a British GP. He's sort of become, a little bit like, that's it, Rangan Chatterjee. It says Rangan, but it's Rangan. Yeah. GP. He's sort of become a little bit of a celebrity GP in the same way that Michael Mosley did. he's done some TV work. He does a lot of TV work, in fact, in the BBC, but he has an amazing, just a wonderful podcast and several books. He really embodies for me the importance of treating everyone as an individual in their health, but also just making awesome health easy. Like there's nothing complicated about it. It shouldn't need to be complicated. And what we do as natural therapists, it's not magic. Yeah, we have to understand biochemistry and, you know, what herbs interact with which drugs and what's happening with hormones, and understand blood tests and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's definitely science and skill and art to it, but there's also simplicity. And he does that so beautifully, and I love listening to him. I share his work a lot with my clients. And the next would be, and these two joined recently in a podcast together, and it was just, I've listened to it probably 6 times already. I've shared it with almost every client since I've listened to it.
This is a podcast I want to listen to now, yeah. Oh, who's the other guy?
The second model is Dr. Mark Hyman. Hyman. I've met Mark Hyman, and
amazing, through
my previous work. He presented at one of our large conferences. Yeah, that's it. He's just, again, a phenomenal human, hugely influential, incredibly intellectual. He is a functional medicine GP in the States, and he was one of the, not one of the founders, but certainly one of the most influential people in functional medicine, which is a term that's only really been used in the last sort of 5 to 10 years, which is essentially the joining of orthodox medicine or general practice and naturopathy. So it's the principles of being a doctor, but applying what naturopaths have known for centuries.
Amazing.
So it's a really beautiful way to describe medicine. And he's very big on food. His most recent book, he does a lot of education around farming and the origins of food, and he's just phenomenal. So I love his work, and when the two of them came together, it was like my mind blew.
I get it, yeah. But more than just your mind, probably your mind, your heart. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, totally. I also love the work of Dr. Tanya Dempsey. She's another functional medicine GP from the States. It's TANIA. And a lot of her work is on the understanding of mast cell activation, which is what basically is the origin of allergies, and you got it right that time. So it's how allergic symptoms come about in our body, and her work has encompassed the understanding of how mold, and a lot of people are affected by mold in like air conditioning units and inside of walls and in roof spaces and that kind of thing. So she's American, and she does a lot of work in female health and helping us to understand how hormonal dysregulation can actually come from the origin of mast cells.
What are mast cells?
Mast cells are one of the white blood cells. So there's several different types of white blood cell, and essentially what they are is kind of like a they're not obviously polythene, but like, imagine them to be like a polythene bag, and they contain histamine. So when they're stimulated, they basically explode and allow out the histamine. So when someone has a hay fever or sort of skin irritation or any of those typical histaminic responses, it's because these mast cells have degranulated and let their histamine out. So a lot of the work we do with treating allergies is about stabilizing those mast cells so they don't feel the need to let their contents out.
Got you. Thank you for sharing that download. I love hearing about these things. As a lifelong learner and a super like infinitely curious human being creature, I love hearing about fields that I'm less familiar in. And I say that acknowledging too, I've never studied naturotherapy. Would never proclaim myself a naturopath. However, it resonates with me a lot. Like I think, can I share something vulnerably? Yeah. And so acknowledging too, like we have a beautiful like mentor-mentee relationship, and dear friends, not romantic at all. Okay. 2 or 3 of my former partners all were either like naturopaths. Like one of the highest values is always health. It's always so that's just a pattern that I've noticed.
Yeah.
And it's always fascinating. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, pleasure. If I can reflect a little on that before I give you my last 2.
Yes. Ooh, there's 2 more. Yeah.
I wonder if that's, what you're seeking, what you're consciously seeking in a romantic partner, you've already shared is not what you experienced mum as, and kind of the polar opposite of what you've described your childhood experience with mum would be that kind of nurturing, soft, healing nature.
Yeah. So I believe I synthesized the meaning of that pattern as one of the highest values that I'm looking for in a partner is health. I think that's so clearly and simply reflected as well. Like that's one of my highest values on a deep level. Like it's such a great value, such a deep value. It's kind of like honesty, respect, responsibility. So deep that I don't need to write it down in my values anymore. Because it's a given. I have it. It's there.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. And we all have health. So
yeah. Health is the first.
Yeah.
The 12 dimensions of extraordinary life. This is one of my favorite models that I use. It's my 3rd coaching session, standard 6 sessions. The 3rd one is the 12 dimensions of extraordinary life. Can I share a bit of a story?
Yeah.
So this is like, again, March, April last year. It was peer coaching. And one of my peer coaches wanted to test the wheel of life, do a wheel of life with me. I said, great. Let me also do a session for you. Right. So, this is the overachiever, Chris. I'm like, all right, how do I deliver amazing? Right. So I looked at John and Missy Butcher's 12 dimensions. And from what little before I joined the program, because I've done the life book, before I did the program, I took what I knew, looked at the trailer, and I reverse engineered it. And so the 12 dimensions is gorgeous. It's like the wheel of life, but heightened 10x. And the first category is health. The first category is health and fitness.
It has to be. It has to be. Because
It's our vehicle.
without your health, everything else, excuse my French, but can go to shit. It underpins everything. If you're constantly in pain, it's hard to have a positive mindset. It's hard to move. It's hard to work. Your relationships suffer. It underpins everything. But that doesn't mean that someone who has a health condition can't have success and excellence in all those other areas.
Yes, but it does. So one of the premises, and a premise is the belief behind a belief. So one of the great premises is, and so fully true, there are people who are ill or have a disability or are crippled in one way, are phenomenal in some other categories. A premise is that's really powerful is that a win in one category is a win in all categories. So every time you succeed in one category, you're lifting category as well. So, and it starts with health and fitness.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah. You and I haven't done a 12 dimensions. We'll do it at some point.
I'm fascinated to look at that.
12 dimensions. Writing it on my list. How you going?
I'm getting through the tea. Yeah.
I'm done with one. I'm almost done with another. It's like you can tell the section in the podcast based on the drinks that we're having. Yeah.
Is it when we get to the bottom of them that we're done? When you run out of liquid? Or you have the tea?
That's a good way to pace it, I think. That's a good way to pace it. So effectively, in about 15 minutes, I'll finish this one and then. And then I can, all right. Yeah. It's measured by the bladder.
You could measure the guest that you have by the strength of their bladder.
Yeah. So let's talk for a while, right? I love that we can talk about anything. But was it similar with you? Where did you go through like, make sure my bladder is good, and then like, all right, I'll clear out my bowels so that I'm good for the rest of this.
Yeah, totally, and feed the dog as well. I got to do that.
Feed the dog.
Yeah. Can you hear her snoring, by the way? Because she's right behind me and she snores so loud.
Only now that you've told me. I didn't hear snoring at all until you mentioned that. Big whisper. Snore.
I was doing a meditation with a client the other day and I could hear the dog snoring, and I thought either that it's going to be quite rhythmic and this client's really going to enjoy the sound of the snoring dog, or they're going to think it's me.
Yeah. Remind me, what's your dog's name again?
Mabel.
Mabel.
Yeah.
You ever seen Pirates of the Penzance?
No, I don't think I have.
There's every time I hear the name Mabel, I think it's her entrance song, but there's a character's name is Mabel. She goes, Mabel.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's pull that up. All right, we need some videos from you as well.
Okay.
Any videos that you want us to see. Just so that you also see it now that you're thinking about Pirates of the Penzance, wonderful musical from back in the day.
I've never been a big musical fan, I've always found them a little bit cringeworthy.
It's an acquired taste. It's definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I can. Please tell me you've seen, as a tower romantic like myself, Moulin Rouge.
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, so fantastic. Moulin Rouge is a great gateway musical.
Okay.
It's a film and it's a story and it's a phenomenal film. It's, in my opinion, top 5 films of all time. And there's love. It's first story first, and there's bits of music here and there. So there's the Elephant Love Medley.
It's like an entry-level musical.
Yeah, if you want to get into musicals, or if you're interested and curious and want to take away the limiting belief, and
I like opera though, so I feel like that's kind of a musical on a different level.
Opera's good. I'm looking forward to Hamilton. This is Hamilton. Have you heard of Hamilton? Okay, I'll share from my world, the arts world, that perspective. Hamilton is the artist's musical. I have never seen so many phenomenal like A-list actors, celebrities, performers, artists, actors. You watch their Comic-Con, their interviews and stuff. There's always online. There's a video of them singing from Hamilton.
Oh, okay. So is this kind of the new musical, like Broadway or something?
It is one of the current multi-Tony Award-winning musicals. So one of the best. It simply put, they recast it's a very diverse cast representing American history, talking Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson's right-hand man. So what is politics shared on the scale of hip hop. So
wow.
Yeah, it's so contemporary and such a mix, and schools everywhere talk about it. It's a phenomenal musical. In Sydney, we've just started playing Hamilton.
Okay.
The Australian cast of Hamilton.
Awesome.
Yeah. So something to look into. Phenomenal, like must watch.
Okay, I will. It'll be a couple of years before it gets to Perth, but I'll look out for it.
Yeah. Remind me, but you can watch it for free on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, during COVID, blessings of COVID, they filmed it. They're going to release it 2 years from now, and then they were like, "Oh, because of COVID, everyone's at home. Let's gift everyone recorded Hamilton."
That's pretty cool. I'm going to make a note of that.
Please.
I just realized that I did love The Lion King. That's a musical.
Okay. It's an ad. While you're taking notes, I'm looking at Pirates of Penzance, Introduction to Mabel. Let me pull this up. Oh, you get a sense. I'll have to find it first, right? But this may come off as dated, but it's lovely in its own way. So this is Mabel.
It is thine. Take heart, no danger lowers. Take any heart, but ours.
Yeah, and when she arrives, and they have this whole musical number of the girls coming into the scene, you know. Rapscallions, you'll love it. It's all about pirates and stuff. They come to this island. There are these women, and then Mabel comes on, and like, what's your name? I just get giddy. I just laugh when I see it. So.
And I can't believe you built the word rapscallion in twice in context. Wow, you make it through, you get some kind of prize.
I'll take that. Oh,
Awesome. So do you have a top 10 movies as well? You got your top 6 actors.
Yes. Is that the question? Because that's an unpack. Before we go there, let's talk. Okay. Let's acknowledge the fact that we're both high performance or amazing holistic coaches. Let's talk about higher selves here. I'm curious. You don't have to say me. I'm curious. Who are your top 5 models of excellence, models of outstanding, or coaches? And they can be like coaches, therapists, practitioners. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Say top 3.
I think of the work that I think of that's inspirational to me around coaching, and I can't help but think of Brené Brown. And she's not a coach as such, but her work is really, it kind of informs the coaching process, I think. You know, she talks a lot about values and beliefs and authenticity, and yeah, I have one of her, I'm actually just looking at my vision board here, and one of her quotes that's on my vision board for this year is, "Courage, compassion, and connection will be my constant companions." So I think a lot of her stuff is...
One more time. Can you say that one more time?
Courage, compassion, and connection will be my constant companions.
Beautiful.
Yes, I feel like a lot of what she brings in terms of leadership and the work on authenticity informs what we do. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
I guess I have a friend who's a model for me, Angela Carroll. She helped me with some business coaching when I first started setting up, and she was a colleague in my previous workplace as well. So she's just, yeah, an absolute outstanding individual. Always brings excellence, and is one of those amazing human creatures as well. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she kind of embodies the she embodies what it is to be a great coach and a great human being all in one.
Beautiful. She's not in the TCI sphere, is she?
No, she's not. No.
Number three. Who's number
my
three?
third. I'm really struggling. I mean, it sounds a bit obvious to say Tony Robbins, just because he's, you know, I see, although obviously he is, you know, the coach's coach.
Obvious is good. Yeah.
Yeah, his work is kind of underpins so much of what we do at the Coaching Institute, and what
Absolutely.
coaches worldwide learn and bring forward. Yeah.
Well, Sharon Pearson, who is the founder of TCI, she early career, she modeled Tony Robbins, learned from Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, Tony Robbins. Oh, so all right. My top three currently.
If Tony's not in there, that's going to be something weird.
Tony's number one. I'm wearing one of, like, I believe he's the co-owner of this brand. So yeah, he represents his brand definitely. This is Live Lucky. Black clovers. And it's just a beautiful reminder that we're lucky, we're blessed.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Tony Robbins, yeah. He is my global mentor. I mean, the coach of coaches. He coined the term coaching. You know, and he draws from all the greats, from LP and Milton, and you know, I read he made a great post a while back. It was like the history of coaching. And it shared like all the different names of the people that he learned from. Like, what a amazing example, you know, like he having been in his presence, having done now 3 UPWs, 3 Unleashed Power within 7 months. Yeah, you look at his eyes and he's telling his story. And you see this high level of unconditional love, like, for the world, genuine unconditional love for the human family. So, Tony Robbins, number one. Number two.
High standards, by the way, by attending all of those Tony events in 7 months. That's absolutely outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I credit him. Like, when I saw the Netflix I'm Not Your Guru, it was a number of years ago, I remember that was a defining moment because I looked at my dreams as an actor. They're so small compared to what Tony Robbins is doing, living, being that example. Oh, I've got to dream that much bigger. So now I'm closer to living that. Still got a long ways to go. What a wonderful model. Model of outstanding. Tony, I would have to say the second one is Esther Perel. So as you may know already, we're doing in our 6 a.m. club, our 2020 club experience. Our this 90 days this season, we're learning, our default learning is Esther Perel. So I bought the program for sessions, and she is one of the best relationship coaches. That's my niche that I'm currently playing in. She's so highly emotionally intelligent. She can communicate it so eloquently. So she would be my number 2.
Yeah.
No,
I loved her. I'm probably going to misquote it, but the idea that monogamy used to be one partner for life, and these days the idea of monogamy is one partner at a time.
Yeah.
It's just such an interesting observation of, it's not a judgment or
it's funny, but it's because it's true.
Yeah, and it's an interesting observation of our social evolution.
Yeah.
And how we now see relationships differently.
Absolutely. She's phenomenal. And I'm using that word a lot. That's one of my favorite words, phenomenal. What's better than outstanding? Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I got a soul search for number 3. I can walk you through my process. I mean, there's Robin Sharma, but he's only because he does the 6 a.m. club. So I know him on a limited level, but the 6 a.m., 5 a.m. club redefined my life, brought me to another level 4.5 years ago. So, why we have the 2020 club. All about building habits. So he was my entry to, the habit building. Tony Robbins talks about it, is the building blocks. All success comes from good habits built over time.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I only know him a facet of it. Grant Cardone is one of my global money mentors. So when we're using the term mentor, so let's unpack that, right? There's 3 types of mentors. There's the global mentors, that's universal, everyone has. There is like the TCI mentor, which is, like we're allocated and teach the standard model for coaching session. And then there's the models that the mentors that we choose, and what I call like a spiritual mentorship. We got to tell our story at some point, but yeah, it's I feel it's even beyond my choice. It's a pull energy that when I connected with you in the very first breakout room that we had, blessed, that so honored and privileged, just by accident that you were so this is going back, right? Let's tell our story. A few months ago now, December.
I think it was October.
Was it October?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, October. And I was a ninja, which is like I assist in facilitating the room during breaks. And out of the 200 people, you were the odd one out that needed someone in the breakout room. So the ninjas were like, all right, Chris, can you go in the room? Like, no problem. And it was your very first session receiving as a client. But it's also because it was the practice exercise, it was your first session coaching as well. Yeah. And so I just like, and then through that exchange, I just felt like, wow, there's something about this person that I connect with on a deep level. And like on a spiritually speaking, you're such a fit for me that I want to serve you. And I know you resonate in terms of being a community builder. Our values are aligned. And I know that by serving you, I'm serving not just my values, goals, causes, but I'm serving a higher purpose. So yeah, that's why I was like, this feels like it's meant to be. And yeah, so I'm like wholeheartedly decided to serve, right? Just serve. You're one of my 20%.
Awesome.
Yeah, one of my 20%.
Appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's, when you have that kind of connection with someone, it's about an immediate comfort. Does that make sense? Like, I don't mean comfort as in, cuddled and coddled or anything, just ease. That's what I mean. It's just ease.
Well,
yeah.
I'd love to hear the reflection of that, your perspective on when we first met.
I think that really sums it up. That first session, I think it was the morning of day one. So, I'd done maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours of learning at that point. And we, got paired in that room, and to do that exercise with someone that I felt an immediate sense of ease with, actually for me, I think I'd gone into the day not certain that I'd made the right choice with coaching, or maybe that I hadn't made the right choice with the school, because I hadn't really experienced anything of the school at that point, or the institute. And to go into that room and have that sense of ease with you and the process kind of reinforced for me, you're on the right path here. This person is evidence that you're on the right path. So thank you.
I'm honored. Thank you.
And you've continued to be a big part of that journey.
Yeah. It's a very special, courageous connection.
Yeah.
To use your theme, to use your words.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with a third one. If I was in a TCI space, I'd have to say Matt LeVars. I'll say Matt LeVars. There's Grant Cardone as well, who's up there. So Grant Cardone is my global money mentor, man behind 10X. Matt LeVars, my model of excellence. Because, my decision when I first joined, this is the overachiever in me, right? Straight away, I'm like, if I'm joining the Coaching Institute and I'm learning to be a coach, I want to be the best. That's the default programming. And American, gotta be the best. Asian, you gotta be the best with straight A's. So
you gotta be the best of the best.
Old programming,
Yeah.
So I've learned to, it's cool, man. Just like it's better to be the kindest than to be the best. So Matt LeVars. I look at Matt LeVars, I'm like, all right. When I joined, I said to myself, committed, I have to treat him like my God, in some sense, right? Not religious, but like my best friend. I want to learn everything I can from him. So,
awesome.
Model of excellence in that sense. Like I know he's different socially as well. So I know enough that I know what he's like socially. And beautiful human being. All I can say.
I really enjoy Joe Parne's work as well. I think again, just thinking back to I probably should have put Joe in there. I quite like I feel like I mirror him sometimes in his erratic nature of his mind. If you've ever listened to his podcasts, he'll be talking about something and then he'll go off on an analogy and
occasionally
down
erratic,
the road elsewhere.
Brilliant.
And sometimes he'll come back.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you made a connection with the original point you were making. Cool.
Yeah.
But on the journey, you passed by so many important things and fun things and relevant things. It was cool anyway.
I relate with that. Yeah. Yeah. Storytelling.
Totally, yeah. And I think I appreciate that because I see that mirrored in me. Yeah.
You've done a really good job. I think most of our interactions, you haven't. Maybe we resonate, so I don't feel it, right? But you haven't, for me, done a big like journey in a story. So take it for what it is.
Trying to come back to the point.
But you know what? Having that sort of a tangential discussion and stuff is perfect in this medium. It's perfect on yeah. All right, we've talked our mentors, our global mentors, our top models of excellence. What's the other question that we want to talk about?
I really don't know.
There's something I remember. There's something that we were talking about. And I was like, all right, before we go there, and mentors, models of excellence. I'm going to step back. It'll come back. If it's important, it'll come back to us.
Good point. Good point.
Favorite movies. Favorite movies. That's oh. Okay. So it does constantly change. It's tough because we got to use trilogies as well, right? So there's if it's just films and they include trilogies, I'm going to throw in some trilogies here. So the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Does that mean that's 3 of your top 10, or are you just claiming that as one?
Claiming that as one. Claiming that as one. Yeah, because
so it's a top 30.
It's so hard. And you're talking to an actor here, right? So like,
I knew this was going to be hard for you.
I know. It's great. I love hard questions. Bring it. All right. Let's just spitball, okay? Because they constantly change as well. So in this moment, because we already mentioned Moulin Rouge.
Ooh, okay.
Lord of the Rings and Star Wars have to be on there. Okay, so Moulin Rouge, phenomenal musical. I'm a big romantic, like obviously. Like it's love. It's just love. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Ain't that the truth?
So you've not seen Moulin Rouge?
I pretty much like. It's one of those things, you know, that it's you feel like you've seen bits of it.
It's
but
111.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's 111, by the way, on my side.
Ooh,
I have to mention it because, yeah, 1111, 111. God, Source Universe loves you. Let me show you a snippet of Moulin Rouge. This is
It's Nicole Kidman, isn't it?
Kidman. When it came out, it was the first time she sang like publicly, like phenomenal. Yeah. Okay. This is world famous. I'll show you a snippet of among musicians, among theater and musical geeks. Most of us know this song, right?
Do you guys just get around and sing it just because you can?
Oh, it's an indicator for me. Like if I'm trying to suss someone out, like, oh, you're like an artsy and stuff. Oh, you're like a really cool person who's in theater and musicals. I'm like, Moulin Rouge.
Test? Is it the litmus paper?
Oh, it totally is a test. if you love Moulin Rouge, like, all right, you're in the arts. You're truly and you know love. Understand it.
It's like asking a naturopath what their favorite herb is.
Yes. Save that.
There's no such thing, by the way. You can't have a favorite herb. There's too many.
Top 5 favorite herbs. Okay.
You look so young. Look at her.
She is so young. We'll do a minute and a half of this.
Love is like oxygen. What? Love is a many splendid thing. Love lifts us up where we belong. All you need is love.
Please don't start that again.
He's a penniless writer. She is a courtesan who has a heart of gold. And this is their first meeting song, like one of the first.
All you need is love.
A girl has got to eat.
All you need is love.
She'll end up on the street.
All you need is love.
Love is just a game.
I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me.
The only way of loving me, baby, is to pay a lovely fee.
Just one night, just one night.
There's no way, 'cause you can't pay.
In the name of love. One night in the name of love.
You crazy fool, I won't give in to you.
Don't leave me this way. I can't survive.
You look so young too.
Sweet love.
So young.
Oh, baby, don't leave me this way.
You'd think that people would have had enough of silly love songs.
I look around me and I see it isn't so. No.
Some people want to fill the world with silly love songs.
Well, what's wrong with that? I'd like to know. 'Cause here I go again. Love
Elephant.
lifts us up where we belong.
Get down! Get down!
Where eagles fly on a mountain high.
Love makes us act like we are fools. Throw our lives away for one happy day.
We could be heroes just for one day.
You
All right. You will be me. Oh, I won't. And I'll drink all the time. It's that's the taste. I just want to give you a segment. The full song is 4 minutes of abundance, and yeah, you have no idea the number of times I've gone like a hangout social and stuff, and just burst into like 2 people. Burst into.
That's like an actual musical scene. Just what you described there. That's a musical in itself.
Totally. And everyone's just like, that's awesome.
And there's me cringing in the side going, oh,
Because you don't get it yet.
Thing.
But once you watch the film, you get it. Like, oh, I get it.
Totally. I will at some point, I promise. So Moulin Rouge is in there.
Moulin Rouge, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. We won 11 out of 11 Oscars.
Return of the King.
So the third in the trilogy.
Oh,
Lord of the
right.
Rings,
Yeah.
Return of the King.
Did you win that many? That's crazy.
And when it happened, I was cheering, I was jumping up and down. I'm like, that's fully deserved.
Wow.
And on a personal connection.
Wow.
And on a personal connection, it made me film. 2000, this is God. This is 20 years ago. This is literally 20 years ago. I watched the first one by accident, no expectations. We're on a holiday, my family was on holiday in Queenstown in New Zealand. Parents rarely ever say, let's go watch a movie. So they did. And we walked in and it's Lord of the Rings, and it's shot in New Zealand, and it shows the sea, the glamour, the abundance of what New Zealand is. And I fell in love with New Zealand. So that's why it's a spiritual home.
Cool. Yeah.
So Lord of the Rings.
So many awards for one movie. That's phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
11 out of 11 Oscars. Yay. I swear once.
Like anyone who is involved with the creation of that movie must just like imagine the sense of pride and achievement from that. That's massive.
On a film set, yeah. On a film set, I worked with it was winners and losers. I had a bit part. I was the bubble boy, and funny character comes in, makes everyone laugh, comes out. But the person on set that was the coolest guy on set was this. He was a crew guy. He was a bitsy, and he'd worked on Lord of the Ring. And everyone treated him like a celebrity. It's like, oh my god, so like, what's going on? But just quietly, like, yeah, so how was it? And I had the pleasure of him, like, can't show anyone, like, release it outside, but he showed me his laptop. He showed me photos of the aerial shots that they took of New Zealand. He was on the aerial.
Wow.
Yeah, Gandalf, Vista, his hat.
Cool.
So cool.
Very
So Lord of the
cool.
Rings.
Sorry, continue with
No.
your list.
No apology needed. Star Wars is the first film that I remember watching ever. Cultural groundbreaker, changed everything. Tough questions, man. I'm enjoying this. Okay. Lion King. Lion King is the best it's the best musical, or I would say the best Disney film. It's Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare with lines. Last
I think I just heard Shakespeare rolling in his grave.
I'll put it to context. It's based on Shakespeare.
Yeah, I totally get you. I totally get you.
It's the fifth one has to be. Why do I have to pick just one? It has to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh wow! So you're having like a top 50 here.
Well, top 22 now. Top 23. Just throw that in there.
I knew this would be too tough a question for you to pin it down to 10.
Yeah. Yeah, Marvel. The personal connection being, and it's interesting how you can see from just one perspective how it's such a broad thing. I grew up reading comics. I was 4 years old when I first read my first Marvel comic, meaning our collective generation, we're seeing all our collective childhood dreams in reality. These, comic book characters come to life on screen. So it's no wonder as a film guy too, like I get the filmic references because it's so filmic how they reference all these other films. You watch the Marvel films, every first 10, 12, I think they still, to this day, they still do it, is a different genre. So you watch like Tony Stark, Iron Man, classic origin story for superhero. And there's a formula, it's the whole action story, some romance, has a bit of everything. The hero's journey.
Hero's journey, for sure, yeah.
Hero's journey. Like, you look, there's such a pattern. They all have a mentor figure, may or may not die.
There's always a trauma or a drama, yeah.
Yep. They go down into the cave, and they defeat the beast or their inner world, come out with more tools, and that circle's complete. So yeah, they definitely follow the hero's journey. You look at Captain America, that's a period piece.
I love Captain America as a movie.
The first one?
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
The origin story, yeah.
I love that. It's some people don't get it because it's period. Yeah, it's a period piece. And then the next Captain America is a political thriller. You know, it's with the whole espionage, the whole spy aspect as well. So each film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe references a different genre. Now they've gone next level. Now they've gone Disney Plus, so they're going streaming a series. And they treat it like a film. So
I didn't know that.
So WandaVision, I'll just mention this, then I would love to hear your point. But WandaVision is only 6 episodes, but each episode brilliantly references a different period of daytime soaps, daytime dramas.
Oh wow.
Like it's like the 50s, is the 50s, is the 60s, is the 70s, and then it comes to contemporary, and it's like, so the Dick Van Dyke Show was referenced, like the Brady Bunch is referenced, like, so just growing up, you got, oh my god, I get that reference.
Yeah, cool. I like that. It's very clever.
Brilliant. Turn the tables to you, because now I got 2 big questions for you. What are your top 5 films to begin with?
Honestly, other than Love Actually, I'm not sure. Oh, A Dead Poets Society.
Great one.
That's yeah, that kind of movie that just, oh, it's so emotional, so heartfelt.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Rest in power, the guy.
Yeah. Is it I'm probably gonna have to just check that I'm gonna get this right, because I'm really bad at the names of movies. I can go, oh, it's that movie about, you know, but not get it right. Yeah, it's A River Runs Through It with Brad Pitt. It's an old movie.
Oh wow. Okay, we got a couple options here. River Runs Through It. Fantastic. What do you love about it?
I actually think I love the there's the real bond between the male characters, the hero, the Brad Pitt, and then the mentor. I like that bond, that connection. But quite simply, it's just beautiful scenery. It's the fly fishing, and there's something really rhythmic, methodical about fly fishing. There's something kind of meditative about it.
Wow.
And it's, I don't know where it's, I imagine it's shot somewhere in Canada or something. It's just beautiful river and forest scenery. Yeah, really nice. Quite different, hey? The River Runs Through It and Love Actually. I don't know. I really don't know if there's any others that I would say are my favorite movies. I don't watch a lot of TV and movies, if I'm honest. Those are the ones that stand out to me.
We're gonna expand that with you coming from movie nights.
Okay. And apparently I'm watching Moulin Rouge soon.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So here's the fun question. Are you ready?
Okay.
What are your top 5 favorite herbs?
Oh, wow. Oh gosh, that's hard. That's really hard. I'm going to say lavender. Lavender's got to be up there. In its herbal nature, I mean, it tastes like shit. It's really difficult to taste, but its action on the nervous system is wonderful, and it has an action on the digestive system as well. So connecting that mind-body stuff. the bitter taste actually has actions in the digestive tract. But I also love it for its essential oil quality. I use it a lot in, I encourage people to use it in their sleep rituals. I actually use it with my dog to calm her anxiety when I leave her.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's nice. What else do I use it in? God, it turns up in so much. There's a nasal spray I use for people with hay fever and stuff that has lavender in there because it's actually a really potent antibacterial.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And antifungal, so it's effective for those kind of sinus infections and stuff. And I love its beauty. I've actually got some from my garden sitting on my kitchen bench at the moment. It's just such a beautiful, pretty little flower with all those hundreds of little other flowers within one flower. It's
Gorgeous.
incredible.
Gorgeous. My number one.
Yeah. Withania would probably be in the top 5. So withania is also known as ashwagandha. It's kind of doing the circle at the moment in the kind of biohacking space.
One more time, the word.
I'll type it in the chat for you, but withania is the name that herbalists know it by, but ashwagandha is
I've heard it often. Yeah, it is doing the rounds. Withania.
I think that's the correct Indian spelling, ashwagandha. Yeah, withania is I use this really quite a lot. It's a tonic herb and it supports the nervous system, but particularly an exhausted nervous system. So I think that's why it's doing the rounds right now, because there's so much like long-term stress that people are experiencing. So it's really, really beautiful for supporting the adrenal glands as well as the nervous system and that long-term sort of exhausted stress picture.
Sounds like it diffuses long-term stress.
Yeah, it's great for that. Gosh, other herbs, chamomile.
Yep. Why?
Chamomile again has really bitter qualities. So even though we drink it in tea and it's quite easy to drink, it's quite palatable, when you use it as a liquid herbal, it's got a really bitter quality to it. So it stimulates the liver, it's good for the gallbladder. It's also a really pretty little delicate flower. So I like the way it looks as well. And plus it's quite, when I say to someone I'm using chamomile in your blend, they can understand it. They have an understanding of its qualities, that it's going to be calming, it's going to be nurturing, but it's actually got this really quite strong effect digestively as well. So chamomile.
Great to know. I use chamomile and I learned this from Robin Sharma. That's part of my evening wind down ritual. Yeah. So chamomile is the indicator. Having a chamomile tea is an indicator that I'm winding down now.
Yeah. It's amazing as well. I think with a lot of the herbs, part of the ritual that I encourage people to be aware of is the scent of things. So if you're every evening brewing your herbal chamomile tea, even if you're not aware of it, you'll recognize the scent, the aroma, and that's a part of that whole, just creating the habit. This is bedtime now, this is nighttime, this is when I'm going to sleep.
Creating the beautiful sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
Hygiene being environment.
Yeah. Cinnamon's got to be there.
Cinnamon?
Cinnamon as a warming digestive herb, but also really good for pelvic congestion. So for women with problematic periods, it's good. I like its warming nature. I guess it's top of mind at the moment because it's starting to get a little bit cooler here in the mornings and in the evenings. So Cinnamon's just coming a lot through in terms of cooking, but also in my herbals, I'm bringing a little bit more cinnamon in.
You're reminding me that, because we celebrate Christmas in July here in Australia, right? Christmas is coming, winter's coming, cinnamon out.
Yeah.
Cinnamon reminds me of Christmas.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's part of again, it's got that really strong aromatic quality, but the flavors of cinnamon are also wintry and Christmassy. Yeah. Gosh, what else? Oh, if I can only pick one more. You were allowed to do this, so I'm going to do it too. You were allowed trilogies in your movies, so I'm going to. Yeah. My last one of the 5 is going to be the medicinal mushrooms, and I'm adding in a classification of herb rather than a specific mushroom. Medicinal mushrooms. So I did my herbalism qualification like 22, 23 years ago now. And I remember actually saying at the time, medicinal mushrooms are gonna be the future. They just are gonna be the future. And I think right now we're experiencing the beginning of that future. I honestly believe we are going to discover so many more medicinal mushrooms, and they're wonderful because of they grow so prolifically, and they have these amazing balancing effects in the body. So they don't push, they don't force. They're really, we call it amphoteric in nature. They're very balancing. So if you take a medicinal mushroom and your immune system needs to be stimulated, then you'll get the stimulation. But if your immune system needs to be calmed, then you'll get the calming nature. They're just amazing in those qualities.
So versatile.
And very safe. I mean, there's some we need to be a bit more cautious of, but very safe. So you can use them with medicines, with conventional medicines as well.
I've heard a lot of just that little uprising of mushrooms being used more. And I listened to a Joe Rogan podcast recently, guy who's like a herbalist, and he talks about all these different mushrooms and how that he would collect them with and then I think they go into psychedelics as well. But it's such an unexplored territory.
Yeah, totally. And the part of the beauty again of mushrooms, and part of my philosophy is the easily accessibility of good health. And when we think about mushrooms, yes, we can use them in a herbal tonic in the right quantities and in measure, but we can also put shiitake mushrooms in a stir fry, and you can grow your own oyster mushrooms, which have their beneficial effects. So there's accessibility in them as well.
Well, I forget how broad this category is of medicinal mushrooms. Way to play the game. Like, it's like, dang, medicinal mushroom. This whole category.
Right,
well played. Lavender. I'm just gonna reflect this back to you. Lavender, and I love that you can go into detail. So this is valuable for a lot of people who are interested in naturopathy. I know personally I'll probably be replaying that again and be like, oh, it's like learning all that little detail. Wonderful. Such great detail. Lavender is my favorite, number 1 as well. Just it's so calming. It's wonderful. Thanks for reminding me on that. I haven't had lavender around for a while. With Thania, which is also like ashwagandha. I've heard that a lot in the biohacking sphere. So yeah, I've a lot of fitness people, a lot of biohackers talk of that as a nutritional ingredient. I love that it's biohacking diffuses long-term stress. Wonderful. Chamomile. Yep, that's part of my positive trigger we're talking like wind down time. So yeah, I have to have a little stock of it. That's wonderful. Cinnamon, again, I want to hear your replay on that because you say cinnamon, I think Christmas.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's a beautiful essential oil. I've got a little festive blend that I'll usually start burning in around July time. And it has cinnamon in there. It has some of the woods in there, like sandalwood and cedarwood as well. But it's a real combination of festive smells.
Cannot wait. What? Yeah, amazing.
Right.
And then yeah, medicinal mushrooms as a broad category and that beautiful unexplored territory versatility. It was a mic drop moment. It was like, oh, number 5, this.
So
amazing.
much fun. That was a great question. Thank you. That really really challenged me.
Thank you for providing it. Yeah, you brought it up. I was like, oh, I heard that. Okay. We ought to talk about. So here are the 3 things I feel we need to probably have to touch on, and maybe save it for a future podcast because it's a biggie. Sleep, category of sleep.
Oh, that is far too big for right now. I'm going to need to pee at some point.
Exact. Do we need a pee break at this moment? Be honest.
I could pee.
Should we take 2 for a pee?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's do that. Somebody first. This is our first pee break.
Biology, right? It has to be done.
It's biology. I'll pause the recording and pause the live if I can. Let's see. I can't pause the live stream. I will pause the recording. Here we go. Okay. Back in 2. All right. For live viewers, I will chuck on some fireplace. That's me for you guys. Perfect timing.
Campfire by the river was nice.
Or Love and Abundance, that's what we put on during the roots. So yeah, wonderful space where people, virtually speaking, people can just kind of all right, we're on a break, but if you want to come back and like hang out and tell stories, you can.
Nice.
Uh,
So sleep, yeah, I think it's a big topic.
it's a big topic.
Mm.
Let's start small with it. But we'll have to save a big, long discussion on it in the future.
Mm.
But I'm always curious, and I've yet to understand breadth of because I know like sleep scientists, that's something that you've been doing in the past. So what is sleep to you? What does sleep mean to you?
Mm. I guess my fascination with sleep is because of my own, for many of us, we develop a fascination for something because of our own experience. And I was a really chronic insomniac for many years and sleepwalker. So it's really just been in understanding sleep cycles and being able to fix myself in some ways that I've come to the knowledge that I have. And also through, my previous work and just being exposed to these amazing researchers like Sachin Panda and Dr. Greg Potter, people who work in the circadian biology space. Sorry, my little dog's just wandering around.
So cool.
Yeah, I think sleep for me just underpins our health. So if health underpins our life and our ability to be great in all of those different spaces in life, without good sleep or without a sleep that nourishes us, and we're all individual, we all have different needs for our sleep, I feel like our mental health can really suffer. Sleep deprivation is a method of torture. So it's
used in torture,
yeah. So we know that it's crucial to being able to focus and being mentally strong.
It reminds me how it just reminds me of military training, how military, knowing that it is, of course this is a segue here, right? They train soldiers, part of their prep is sleep depth training.
Yeah.
So they constantly put soldiers through sleep depth and see how much they can function and survive improvements.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's I think every overachiever in the world would play with sleep depth and how far they can push it. I'm talking about myself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you're a reminder. You're reminding me how important it is for sleep. Like we spend, theoretically speaking, right? The average person spends 1/3 of their lives sleeping. That's how important it is for our health. 1/3. And so I wonder, because I know I push my own body limits with sleep. It's been a pattern for a few years, quite a number of years. We'll tell that story some other time. But yeah, like, do I need to bring myself back to balance my sleep so that I'm getting nourishing sleep that encourages my body to function optimally?
Yeah. And like I say, I don't think there's not like a specific number. Not everybody needs the 8 hours of sleep that gets spoken about widely. But I think it needs to be quality. I think it needs to be good quality sleep that gives you rest and restoration, and it's your body's chance to cleanse, and your mind, your brain actually detoxifies in some way during sleep. So it is, I sort of wonder, for those people who do push those limits, are they truly getting the best out of themselves, or could the reverse be true? If they, not saying if they overslept, but if they paid attention to a good sleep cycle and a longer period of time of sleep, would they actually get more benefits? And, you know, I don't have the answers. I'm sure we'll continue to discover more. That's the great thing about science. It continues to evolve and explore new facets. But yeah, current understanding around the benefits of sleep. And, you know, we are living in such a stressful world that I feel like rest is just so crucial for us.
Fully heard, fully received. From listening to, so a bit of my context is that I have to start to embrace that I am a sleep expert. I haven't been comfortable with that label yet, but I've been experimenting with my sleep since I was 16. And you know my story, you know my context. You know, simply put, I've done 2 workshops on it. I've spoken 2 workshops on it. There's normative sleep. My whole being a person who wants to push the envelope and bring out the best. When I learned about polyphasic sleep, I'm like, is this an avenue that, you know, a lot of great achievers in the world have done polyphasic sleep. They didn't conform to what everyone else is doing. Michelangelo, Da Vinci, there's a lot of, you know, entrepreneurs and CEOs they play with. I'm gonna, myself included, yeah. Polyphasic sleep. Polyphasic meaning multiple phase. So the standard polyphasic being 3 or 4 hours. So one full. Is it circadian rhythm? Is when you have the full like 3.5?
Sleep cycle.
Sleep cycle. Yeah, one full sleep cycle. And then 1 or 2 naps in a day. Yeah. I've experimented so much so that, and I've read up on a lot of this. I've read the most comprehensive sleep study, which is like a 40-page like article, a document that they released. This was about 7 years ago. And yeah, and just finding fascinating stories. I think I shared with you how they put someone in the ground, so there's no sunlight whatsoever, and to see what our natural body clock is like, what it tells us. And within 2 months, they pulled him out, and he's like, "No, it's too early. It's the right time." And his clock was like slightly less than 24 hours. So over the course of 2 months, it moved. It was like 1 or 2 hours back. Yeah. So it was significant. It was like something like 2 or 3 days earlier than what he thought.
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? And that's, you know, the sunlight affecting our pineal gland is what tells us, well, firstly, we're above ground, and secondly, what time of day it is.
Yeah. Super fascinating. So like my context being the and I have to share the example of David Blaine. Like my premise, the reason why I can push my body to such a great extent, my pattern is 2-week long sleeps, 2-week short sleeps. It's just like the universe, my body balancing itself. So after 2 weeks of polyphasic and very little sleep for 2 weeks, in order to replenish all the things like my liver, all the adrenals, my brain function, obviously, everything. My body has been conditioned by myself, consciously and subconsciously. My body goes into long 2-week long sleep cycle, which for me personally, I have some gripes with some parts of both the long sleeps and the short sleeps. So I've hit the point where I've no longer. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for holding space. We had a session where you just held space for me while I explored my inner world with sleep. But I realized that even though I did it for a certain level of significance to myself, even didn't matter if anyone else knew it. I knew I pushed my body to this point. David Blaine, he follows this mentality where if a doctor says it, right? Back in the day, the Surgeon General would say something and everyone believes it, you know? So it's just a doctor's opinion or a collective of doctors' opinions. what's a belief? A belief is a convenient set assumptions. Jopane. Like beliefs are a convenient set of assumptions. And so David Blaine would be like, cool, that's their opinion. I'm gonna test it for myself. And that's why David Blaine can do all these, it's all very practiced and prepped and trained, but he can stand an ice block for days. He can go through how long was it without sleep? Ridiculous endurance tests that he does for himself. It just breaks records.
And it's again, that's those opinions, those medical opinions, whoever they are, that's based on the information that's available at the time.
Yes, yeah.
I think we've said this before in conversation, like 100 years ago, your doctor might prescribe you cigarettes to deal with your asthma because it would widen your bronchi, which it does. If you smoke cigarettes, it does widen your bronchi immediately, but the long-term effects we now know are something that we don't want. So
exactly.
the opinions of any expert can only be based on the information that's available at the time.
That's it.
And their own interpretation of that.
Brilliant reflection. Yes. Have an example. Yeah, you go.
So I was going to say, I love that you've been able to explore this with your body, but also come to a point of recognizing that maybe this doesn't serve me in the way it has served me before. Can I explore something different?
Yeah. I did the math. I'm seeing the patterns with the numbers too. So it's roughly 7 to 8 years now since I started playing with sleep, really experimenting with sleep, and again, done such outlier things, such outstanding things, you could say. Like I'm in university days. This is many years ago. 48-hour sleeps. I think I shared with you, like 48-hour days. So I would sleep 16 hours and be up for 2 days. Like so fascinating, interesting, just because I had the opportunity, like it was the first year uni, like you could say, oh, amazing, no parental control, I can do whatever I want in some sense, and I'm allowed to do that, like in a safe environment where anything goes. So quickly on that, body
Conscious
was
of time.
conscious of time. Thank you. So I've done so much with my sleep, and it's almost like 3-4 years of conditioning, 3-4 years of actually being in it. And now I feel like I've hit a point where I'm like, the scales of tips, I'm like, I see enough reasons why not to do it. Start to reverse the cycle, to reverse what I've done. And so it's one of the bigger dragons I'm looking to slay, to normalize my sleep again.
And isn't that how we all come to a period of change? By recognizing enough reasons that it's worth making that change.
So when I meet someone who's done extensive study with sleep, I'm curious to know your worldview on sleep. Curious to know what are some interesting things that you've discovered, and 100% agree. Like your brain, I've shared with friends about what I do, and thank you God, thank you Source, for them going, Chris, I just remember, like, your brain, it's like a sewage system, and when you sleep, it's how it clears all the toxins from your brains. So like, when you sleep is when your brain grows. You're growing muscle and fat, and brain, like, memory retention is created from that. So that's a really big deal for me.
Yeah, totally. Longevity, studies on longevity linked to quality sleep as well. So that's obviously super important. The quality of our sleep impacts our heart rate variability. So that's the not your heartbeat as such, but the difference between beats. So the boom, 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 is a marker of good health. Is if that boom, boom has a different pace between each beat, and that variability is actually the marker of good health, and its ability to be resilient to stress is if the heart rate has a greater variability, and that greater variability tends to come with more regular, more solid sleep cycles and quality of sleep. Yeah, which is yeah, also, you know, connected to our nervous system balance and how we, yeah, the mind-body connection with the heart. Yeah.
Love it, love it.
Yeah, and fascinating things around timing. This is a lot of the work of Sachin Panda. So he's done a lot of research on things like feeding times.
How do you spell his name?
Satchin, Panda, like the animal.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's his real name?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
I can check the book. Yeah, The Circadian Code is his book. His focus is on eating, and the book is about losing weight, but it's specifically, his research is on feeding patterns. And
oh, this is a great book. Okay.
Yeah, the result of his work is also part of something that's quite well known at the moment is oh, sorry, I'm hungry. Brain storage.
You're so good. Yeah.
Is intermittent fasting. So
Yes.
we normally, obviously, we don't eat while we're asleep, but in his principles, he encourages the use of periods of time between eating, so minimizing the amount of time during the day that we eat, and that's about insulin release and the control of eating, and is commonly being used now as a method of losing weight. Yeah, intermittent fasting. But that actually, intermittent fasting, I find, for people can also improve their sleep cycle, so they go hand in hand. Yes. By not eating so late in the night, and depending on your chronotype, stopping your eating at, you know, maybe 3 or 4 hours before you go to bed.
I love this. Chronotypes being sleep pattern. So people who don't know what that is, it's according to Dr. Michael Bruce. So I love that he made it very simple in different animals. So where you know, the old way of looking at it is the night owl and the morning lark, right? So he calls it the wolf. So he paired animals based on these animals' sleeping cycles with how human beings rest. Wolves are evening people. They stay up late.
Nighttime hunters.
Nighttime hunters. They tend to drink more and to smoke more. And so, like, just talking statistics here, some higher rates of depression and anxiety as well. But they also have more sex. The hours.
Pros and cons of everything, hey?
Pros and cons of everything. Exactly. Then you've got instead of the morning lark, it's the lion. So 15% of the population, this is why we do, one of the reasons why we do 6 a.m. Club, to move ourselves to being early risers. The great achievers of the world are early risers. 15% of people wake up before the sun rises. And you get a lot of things done. Just power hours, the first 3 hours, you get a lot of things done. Yeah, our 2020, literally 1 hour, we pack so much. Like, if that's the only hour that you spend, you've done your exercise, your journaling, connection, and learning. Then you've got, so the night owl, wolf, the lion, morning bird, the bear, which is 80% of the population, and they rise with the sun and go to bed with the sun, about 80%. So it's the most common one. And then there is the dolphins, beautiful dolphins who, yeah, they tend to be the ones who are diagnosed with insomnia, are light sleepers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
sleep is one eye open, always vigilant, half asleep, half awake, half asleep. Yeah.
half awake, half asleep. Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say you can, one of the purposes of the 6 a.m. club is to shift closer to that lion state. Because we're all, like I said, the majority of people are in that bear type. And in fact, the world probably is suited to bears, the idea of the 9-to-5 job, and we, eat breakfast, we eat lunch, and then we eat a large dinner. But actually shifting towards the lion for a lot of people, and the circadian code sort of supports that, is a really supportive way to improve sleep cycles, but also improve metabolism. So you're eating a protein-filled, nourishing breakfast, a bigger meal, maybe a lighter lunch, but minimizing the amount of hours that you're exposing your insulin and your digestive system to food.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And of course, caffeine comes into that, and alcohol comes into that. We could go on.
Oh, this is, we'll save, oh my gosh, we'll save this topic. It's literally, there's so many angles to sleep. Sleep is such a fundamental thing. Sleep is a superpower. Who said that? Someone said that. Sleep is a superpower.
I like that.
Yeah, I think the interesting, I'll just touch on the caffeine. Like, this is Tony Robbins. That's my reminder that I have a flight. Thank you, phone. We'll talk another 5:10. I do want to know, we got to do where you're headed, and yeah, like the last message for everybody. Caffeine. Why do we wake up?
Ooh, I've lost you.
Just checking. Why do we wake up? Generally speaking, of human family. That's my internet. So we're back.
Okay, good.
This is Tony Robbins. We're like, why when you wake up after a solid night's rest, do we have the first thing we do is we drink coffee? So the world culture is so counterintuitive to what our body. When we wake up with full rest, we have most energy. So yeah, something to challenge general thought.
Yeah, totally. Coffee. My one coffee of the day is it's usually around 10 a.m. And at the moment I've been getting up at 4 a.m. So to have my coffee at sort of 9 is fine. But yeah, usually around 10 a.m. is a good time, because you're right, your cortisol is naturally at its highest when you're first waking up. So taking caffeine is not really necessary. And it's actually not the best. You're not going to get the best out of your caffeine. Having it slightly later in the day is going to give you a little bit of a rise.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Starting to wrap up questions. All right. So
let's do it.
So where are you headed now in terms of your coaching career? I want you to be able to share what you're doing now, so the people watching are like, cool, get in touch with you.
Yeah, great. So I am continuing to do both roles. So continuing to do my naturopathic work and my coaching work, and blending them very much together. So in my business, which is Being Well Coaching, Being Well with Julia is my social media, and I'll continue to do that, continue to blend, helping people to be healthier and happier in work and in life, so that they can work well and be productive and perform at their best because they're feeling well in body and in mind. That's where I'm going, and I'll continue to go in that way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. Beautiful
So
response.
one-on-one coaching and group coaching. I'd love to, get to the point where I'm doing some more group coaching and webinars, and that will come as the technical skills build.
I acknowledge your amazing journey to coaching, and I know I'm biased because I mentor you, but at the same time I know what a beautiful, safe space that you hold. And your listening is fantastic, really present, and you really understand your client's map of the world. And you have such strength through compassion. So just really want to acknowledge you on the journey.
Thank you.
I'll share what's in my table. I've got monthly webinars, my monthly Love and Abundance webinars. So the next one is in 2 weeks' time.
Awesome. When do you do those? What night of the week are they? I'm assuming it's an evening.
Yeah, they're usually Sundays. They're usually Sundays. Between 10 o'clock, it's 2 hours, 10 to 12, a 30-minute break, 2:30 to 4:30. And then just quietly, we usually have an after party as well. It's I bring the fun. But yeah, the first part is content heavy, high level content on love and abundance. The second is a conscious mixer. So we do the love languages. You have the opportunity to apply it straight away. The connections and the bonds are beautiful. Been lucky, been blessed, been valued at $2,000 the first one that I did. Second one that we did last month was $5,000 valued by others at the so now I just got to practice. I model not-for-profit impact-based companies, so I've just got to basically put out the GoFundMe and how you can support me.
I love that. I love that you're using the 5 love languages. Those are really good to understand. Really good.
I forget how many people don't know it. So yeah, using old knowledge that works, that I can share pretty much in my sleep, you could say.
Which, when you're on a short sleep cycle, is a good thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for today.
My pleasure. If there's one message that you can share in 2 sentences to the community of coaches, to the world, say.
Wow. I think it's about what I'm learning myself right now, and that is that we cannot separate the body and the mind. Our emotions are felt physically, and through working through emotional struggles, we can unlock a lot of what's happening on a physical level. They work hand in hand.
So mine would, beautiful, thank you for sharing. Mine would be that everything is connected, and how our bodies represent the word body too. Like, body is our person, body of people, represents the universe. It represents God's source universe. I think there's a connection to it that we often get. So I guess part of my mission is to raise vibration, to remember who they truly are and the greatness of souls.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that. Awesome.
Thank you for Aho.
Oh,
Thank you for playing full out, and it's such an honor to have you on our second ever podcast. So excited.
amazing. And thank you to you for bringing this, and for wanting and allowing the time to spend doing these recordings. You're going to bring lots of value to your listeners.
It's a real pleasure. May this be the beginning of many, many awesome things.
Indeed.
All right. Group hug.
Group hug. Small group hug.
Small group hug. Hugging the audience as well.
Yeah.
This is how I close my sessions. 10 seconds.
Enjoy your trip.
Yes. And happy Freedom Friday. And
Yay.
yeah, we'll I trust, congratulations also on completing your 7 days of 6 a.m. Massive. Here's to 22.
Indeed.
Yeah, personal challenge.
Thanks so much, Chris.
My pleasure. And thank you
Talk
all
soon.
for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Take this energy, go forth, and continue to bless the human family.